it's you, Commander. I heard a noise. I thought young Jim might be in here.
Oh, I saw him down the orchard a couple of minutes ago, Gate. If you're after him.
Oh, no, Commander. No, I wasn't after him. I just wondered what he was doing in here.
Well, he's not here, is he?
Well, then, no, sir. Anything I can do for you, Commander?
No, that's all right, Gates. I was just sorting out a few sound flower pots. You know, the Women's Winch Institute. They put out an appeal for them.
Women's Institute, sir?
Yeah, want to sell potted plants. Their Christmas fair this year.
That'll be Mrs. Fredericks on the warpath.
As soon as the parish council meeting ended last night, Major Fredericks was up on his feet, urging members to give pots, as though you were asking them to give their blood.
Yes, sir. Well, they do say in the village, sir, that Mrs. Fredericks is a very determined lady.
Yeah, very.
Yeah, Mrs. Gates is quite frightened of her. She got a real ticking off last summer for not pricing her cakes properly for the village fete. Oh, yeah, she's a holy terror, is Mrs. Fredericks.
Yeah, I'm sure she is. So the least I can do for Major Fredericks is rustle up 1 or 2 pots for him.
Oh, well, I could do that for you, Commander.
No, it's all right, Gates. I just wanted to get out of the house for an hour. No, it's quite pleasant, just pottering about in here.
Yes, sir. Very good, sir.
Was he there?
Who?
Was Jim in the potting shed having a spelling lesson from Miss Liz like he thought?
Oh, no, he wasn't. The Commander was in there by himself, sorting out flower pots for the WI. At Mrs. Fredericks.
Oh, by the way, Fred, did you manage to do that bedside table lamp for the blue dressing room?
Yes, I did. I've mended the connection and plugged it in. Let's hope Miss Phyllis's gentleman guest doesn't feel the cold. It's chilly in that room.
Well, it's bound to be. Hasn't been used since before the funeral. Anyway, I've popped a hot water bottle in to air the bed.
Warm it up a bit, you mean?
Yes.
I reckon Miss Phyllis could do that for him, eh?
Fred Gates, what a thing to say.
Go on. Don't tell me he's not her latest fancy man. She wouldn't bring a gentleman up here for the weekend unless she was gone on him, not Miss Phyllis.
That's none of our business, Fred.
Coming up tomorrow, are they?
Yes, motoring up in her car. They'll be here in time for lunch anyway. Those were my instructions. She telephoned from London this morning.
The Commander's away shooting all next week. Lord Sedgefield's place near Stockbridge in Hampshire. Starting first thing Monday morning.
So I hear. Well, with a bit of luck then, Miss Phil and her gentleman friend should be gone by evening. Here, I say. How did you hear that the Commander was away shooting next week? I've not been told that.
How does anyone hear of anything in this house?
Nanny, eh? Yeah. Do you know, Nanny reckons that Mr. Poole lives in France, and Miss Phyllis flew over there in his aeroplane the other week to visit him.
Not a froggy, is he?
Oh, no, he can't be with a name like Poole.
Sounds as if he got a bit of money.
Yes, well, all I know is that Miss Phil had think twice who she brought up here for the weekend if Mrs. Bourne were here.
Yes. Well, she's not, is she?
No, more's the pity.
Well, I'll go and make sure that Jim's cleared a place in the garage for Miss Phil's Buick. It'll mean moving Miss Lizzie's Hornet out the way.
Well, that could do with a bit of a run. It's been lead there all this time.
Yeah, well, she'll have it out this weekend, I expect.
She's not coming till late, did you know?
Yes, I did. And I'm not fetching her off the train.
How's she going to get here, then?
Well, she's driving up with young Mr. Carland in his car.
Oh, is she?
She is. And you're thinking what Nanny's thinking. But I mind my own business, don't I?
Hello, darling. I was just beginning to wonder where you were.
I'm sorry, but we left my digs on time, but we got held up.
I'm sorry, sir. I hope we haven't kept you up.
No, come in, Peter, not at all. They've got yourselves here safe and sound, that's the main thing.
No sooner had we left Enid's flat than we ran slap into a Spanish Civil War procession.
Well.
All the traffic in Bloomsbury was at a standstill for hours.
Hordes of people marching along in a long column shouting arms for Spain. The banners and hammers and sickles on them.
It took us 45 minutes to get from Tavistock Square into Euston Road.
Well, come over to the fire, get yourself warm.
Thank you, sir.
I suppose they want the British government to send all our tanks and aeroplanes over to Spain and help defeat General Franco.
I wish they'd send my auxiliary Air Force squadron over there. Give us a chance to put into practice what we were trained for. Have a shot at the Boche.
Peter.
The tragic farce about the whole thing is, you know, that all these young bearded communists marching about London, shouting for us to arm the Republicans in Spain. They tend to shout even louder when anyone suggests we should arm ourselves against the fascist dictators.
Now, Daddy. We agreed never to discuss Gwilym.
Who's Gwilym?
Oh, he's a young Welsh archaeologist who came here once, some time ago. Argued with Daddy about rearmament.
No, I'm not talking about Gwilym, Liz. I'm simply commenting on the inconsistency of these hammer and sickle blocks.
Now.
Yeah, let's change the subject, shall we? Oh, would you like to have a bit of brandy and warm yourselves up a bit?
That suited me very well, sir.
Me too, Daddy, please.
I'm very glad you could get up here tonight, sir. Your Aunt Phyllis and this new friend of hers, they're lunching with us tomorrow.
Ah, the famous Jack Poole.
Oh, he's famous, is he? Well, now, you can put me straight on something. This chap Poole is the fellow she went off to Le Touquet with.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Is he not?
Yes, that's right. He lives over there. Well, more or less. He's got a villa over there. But he does seem to spend quite a lot of time in London, or has done for the last couple of months.
And where does he stay when he comes over here? At his club or with friends?
I'm not quite sure, actually.
He's a very colourful sort of character, Mr. Poole, isn't he, Liz?
Oh, yes, he's very colourful.
You've met him too, have you, Peter?
Oh, yes, sir. Yeah.
Yes, he has. And Vicky. Phil invited us over for cocktails earlier in the week, and he was there.
Ah, I seem to be the only member of the family who hasn't met him. No doubt he's being paraded for my inspection.
Probably. Oh, Daddy, you must get him to tell you about aeroplanes. There's nothing he doesn't know about aviation.
Oh, civil aviation. Not my kind.
Oh, and Phil is suddenly mad about flying. She talks of nothing else.
Luckily, they had a very smooth trip over to Le Touquet and back. A bumpy ride in a Pussmouth might have dampened your aunt's enthusiasm somewhat.
Yes, she'd have been sick for sure.
Oh, no, I'm not so sure about that. Your Aunt Phil, very good sailor, you know. Survived some very nasty storms in the Irish Sea, trip back from Cairo when she was ago. Now, this Mr. Jack Poole, what does he actually do?
Well, he plays roulette and baccarat at the casino at Le Touquet. I think probably he has an infallible system or something.
Well, good Lord, doesn't he work?
But he doesn't have to. Daddy, he's a terrific sportsman. He plays golf, tennis, skis, polo, everything.
Well, if he's unemployed during the day, he'd have time to, wouldn't he?
And then he's living in the casino at night. Huh?
I'm not so sure that I like him, you know.
Well, you will when you meet him. He's great fun.
Absolutely.
We'll see.
Well, I must be going.
Oh, yes, of course, in case your father and Rosie wonder where you are.
Oh, Daddy, Peter's very kindly asked me over to lunch tomorrow. Is that all right?
Yeah, why not?
Well, I just thought perhaps with Phil and Jack Poole arriving.
Well, I shall receive them with due ceremony, as long as you're back in time to rescue me at dinner.
Oh, she will be. I'm not abducting her forever, just for lunch. Anyway, thank you for the brandy, sir. Hope I don't bump into our gatepost on the way in.
Good night, Peter.
Good night, sir.
Yeah. Oh, thanks for driving me up and everything.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Whoops.
So, see you tomorrow, about 1.
Fine. Don't come out. It's too cold. Good night.
Good night.
Well, can't talk to your poor lonely old father. Would you rather go up?
No, Daddy, not yet. Please, don't say things like that. You know how I feel about deserting you.
Darling, I'm only joking. I'm all right, really. Ask Gates. There's plenty to do.
I am glad.
Oh, thank you. How's life at the Royal Free? Huh? You saved any lives lately?
Oh, at least 5 last week.
They're keeping you busy, are they?
Very. I have to be there at 7:30 for day duty. Gosh, the ward rounds are absolutely nerve-wracking. The doctors fire these questions at you so fast, and it's terribly embarrassing if you can't answer them. The other day, a group of us were being shown over a woman.
Shown over a woman? What, I mean, like a ship?
Yes, literally shown over her. All over her, poor creature. She had 3rd-degree burns everywhere, and I was asked what was the first thing I should do if I were faced with a patient just brought in. Well, my mind went quite blank. I just stood there, and all the other students looked at me, and the doctor and the woman, and I knew that they couldn't dress her again until I'd answered the question. And there she was, lying there in front of us all with nothing on. And then I remembered, thank God.
What was the answer?
Ascertain whether or not any vital internal organs are damaged. Oh, and then the poor woman muttered, "Thank the Lord that she wasn't on duty when I come in." And then I went bright red. It wasn't really very funny.
No, I'm sure it wasn't. So, you know, if you're going to be a doctor, don't lose your sense of humour, because you're going to need it.
Yes, I suppose so.
Are you going to be a doctor?
Oh, Daddy, I'm not sure.
Oh, you were, weren't you?
Well, things can change.
Do I take it you've been seeing rather a lot of Peter in London?
Yes, quite a lot. Well, Enid's always going out to lectures and things, and, well, Peter's the only young man in London I know now, really. He's terribly kind. We go to cinemas and dine in little restaurants in Soho. And if I'm off duty on Sundays, we go to the park or museums or the zoo or something. Well, he's got a car, and he's fun to be with.
And do you like him?
What you're really asking is, am I keen on him?
No, certainly not, dear. I'm not trying to pry.
Oh, of course you aren't. Well, the answer is I don't know. I love being with him. Well, he's company. He's very knowledgeable and attentive. And after all, he's almost one of the family now, isn't he?
Well, I'm not quite sure what you mean by that.
Well, his stepmother being an old friend of yours and the Cartlands being our closest neighbours. Daddy, I don't know whether he's in love with me or whether I'm in love with him. We haven't quite got to that. We're just fond of each other. But if by some chance of fate we found that we were in love and wanted to be engaged, wouldn't it be what Mummy would have called a suitable match?
Not necessarily, Liz. Living near a young man in the country and having parents who know each other, it's no guarantee against the failure of a marriage. You know, sometimes the most unsuitable marriages turn out to be the best. I married my house master's daughter. Some people consider it totally unsuitable. But we got along pretty well.
Yes.
No, there are other, much more important factors.
Such as?
Respect for one another, understanding and tolerance, unselfishness, common ideals and interests.
And love.
Yes, and love.
How are Mr. and Mrs. Cartland, by the way?
Well, I don't see very much of them these days. Oh, of course, you'll be seeing him, and if you're lunching over there tomorrow. There's, of course, Geoffrey Cartland's out hunting.
I rather hope he is.
Well, why?
But I find him difficult to talk to.
Really?
Well, just a bit. Well, I don't know.
Yes, do I take it from that you don't like him very much?
No, not much.
Well, hadn't you better start getting to like him? If you're thinking of marrying his son?
I never said that. Daddy, I think I'll go upstairs now. I'm tired.
All right. Good night.
Daddy, would you be very honest with me?
Oh, I'll try.
Do you like Peter and his father?
Now, must I answer that question?
Yes, it might make a difference to me.
I've no reason to dislike Geoffrey Cartland. Oh, he's worked very hard at his firm, you know, made a success of it, and made Rosie happy, as far as one can see. And Peter? Well, he's very good-mannered. He went to a damn good school, you know, reasonably intelligent and reliable. No, there's nothing wrong with the boy. If you want to go out with him in London or up here, that's all right with me. Liz, you're of age now. Your life is yours. All I demand of you is your own happiness.
Thank you. That makes everything much easier. Good night.
Good night.
When I've done the boiler, I'll mend the ironing board for you, Eileen. I've been meaning to do it all week.
I wish you would, Fred. And then will you take it up to Nanny? She's got a pile of ironing to do up there.
Morning, Mrs. Gates. Morning, Gates.
Oh, good morning, miss.
No, don't get up. I only came in to say that we'll be 3 for lunch today.
Oh, Miss Phyllis and the gentlemen not coming then?
Oh, yes, they are, but I'll be lunching over at Layford Park.
Oh, very good, miss. Is Miss Vicky not coming this weekend?
Oh, no, Mrs. Gates, she's staying in London. Some party that she and Laura have been invited to. Oh, Gates, the commander had to rush out and see Frank Chapman. He asked me to say that he may need another 500 cartridges for next week. And also, would you check and get out his guns?
I've already done that, miss, and he's all right for cartridges. I've put 2 2 lots in bags, and I've left the rest in boxes. Oh, he'll be ready to start first thing Monday morning.
Good. Thank you, Gates.
Liz!
Me?
Huh? Oh, there you are. Here's dear Carlton Minor, as your grandfather would say.
Morning, Peter. Did you hit the gate post last night? Good. You what? Why? What's happened? All right, well, you come here then. Yes. Peter, is somebody ill? All right, well, I'll see you about 1 then. Bye.
He's a persistent young man.
Daddy, can Peter come over here for lunch instead of me going over there?
Well, yes, of course. What's up?
I don't know. He said something had blown up. Funny expression.
Oh, it's not the kitchen boiler, I hope.
No, he sounded serious and rather upset. He was talking quietly as though he didn't want to be overheard.
Well, I dare say he's had a tiff with his father-in-law or with Rosie. I say, we didn't get him tight last night, did we? I mean, only had 1 glass of brandy when he was here.
No, Peter drinks very little for a young man of his age.
Well, we can't be accused of corrupting him, though.
Well, I wish I knew what was happening. I hate not knowing.
Oh, you just had to be patient. Wait and see. Oh, there you are. Oh, there's a car now. Here already. 30 seconds from Layford to Larkfield.
It'll be Phyllis and Jack Poole.
Oh, Lord. Yes, it will be.
Hello, Phil. Oh, it's me, darling, as you can see.
Down there.
Accompanied by Jack Poole and his travelling sports shop. Now, I told him there was no fishing and the nearest golf was 18 miles away. But he wants to convince us all he's a hale and hearty outdoor man and not a Mayfair lounge lizard. Isn't that right, Jack?
I couldn't have put it better myself.
Anyway, my brother, Arthur Bourne, Jack Poole.
How do you do?
Hello. Well, look, I'll get our man to take some of that. Oh, Gates, could you take Mr. Poole's golf clubs and some of that stuff, put it in the gun room?
Thanks awfully.
Well, you must come and sit down in a minute, unless you like to wash or something.
No, I'm all right, thanks.
I must say it's very nice to meet you at last. I was only just saying to my daughter I'm the only member of the family who hasn't had the pleasure.
I was sure you were going to say I've heard so much about you.
Well, I was, actually.
There you are. Your fame has spread all the way to Herefordshire, darling.
Well, Liz, you've got time off from tending the halt on the
Oh,
lane?
just the weekend.
Is that woman dead yet? The one you told me about in your ward with pneumonia?
Oh, Mrs. Haynes, no. She was discharged yesterday.
Oh, I think it's time for a glass of sherry, don't you?
Oh, it must be. Come and sit down, Jack.
Well, how was the journey up?
We've done marvels, considering we left London an hour later than intended.
Due, I fear, to a somewhat festive evening with too much bubbly.
You speak for yourself. It wasn't me who crashed into the bandstand and knocked the trumpet player's music over.
Oh, good Lord.
Hey, that's a bit below the belt.
We went to the Florida. It was packed as usual. I think everyone in London must have been there. Jack simply knocked the trumpet player's music over. The stand toppled off the little platform and clattered onto the glass dance floor, which incidentally goes round and round like a gramophone record.
This poor bemused trumpeter kept on playing, by ear, I suppose, while waiters appeared and helped us collect all the bits.
I'm afraid, you're going to find things rather dull and quiet here after London.
Well, that's just what we need, isn't it, Phil?
What, dullness and quietness?
Bit of rain, a little peace and rest.
Yes, sir. It's been quite a hectic few weeks, hasn't it?
She takes a lot of keeping up with, your sister. She's given 4 cocktail parties in the last 3 weeks, and we've dined out and danced every night. She's wearing me out. You'll have to get yourself a younger chap, Phil. I can't stand the pace. I'm too old.
Thanks.
Personally, I'm absolutely useless unless I get 8 hours sleep every night.
Well, I usually feel a little sleepy towards midnight, but if I'm enjoying myself, then I get a second wind.
Well, I'm afraid there's certainly nothing to stay up for here after midnight, is there, Liz?
Oh, no, nothing exciting ever happens here.
Anybody think he'd come here for a month's holiday?
What's he like?
Bit brash looking, if you ask me. Oh, and you should have seen the gear. Golf clubs, fishing rods, pair of guns, shooting stick loose in the car. And he's not that young, neither.
I like a chap who's, sporting.
If you ask me, it's all show. Looks to me more the type for indoor games, that chap.
Fred, don't be vulgar.
Yes, we land at Berck, a few kilometres along the coast, and we take a taxi into Le Touquet from there.
Jack's flying me to Paris for Whitsun, aren't you?
Yes. Heston to Le Bourget, just under 2 hours. That's faster than old Imperial Airways or Air France. And with a private aeroplane, you get through customs more easily.
Oh, you must fly up here sometime.
I'd love to. Find a field big enough to land in.
I'm sure Geoffrey Cartland has enough land to build his own aerodrome.
If why on earth should Geoffrey Cartland want to build an aerodrome?
Oh, he might want to one of these days. You never know.
That'll be Peter.
How do you know? Have you got second sight?
He's coming to lunch.
No, Liz was going over there, but then Peter decided to come over here instead.
Prefers Mrs. Gates' cooking to the Layford chef, huh?
Well, I don't think it's that. Oh, come in, Peter.
Hello, Peter. Nice surprise.
Slight change of plan. Hello?
Oh, you remember Peter Cartland, don't you, Jack?
Absolutely. How's tricks?
All right, thanks.
Got a weekend off flying, have you? Not surprised. Weather's pretty foul for aviation at the moment. I thought of bringing you Phil up as far as Bristol in my old crate and training on from there, but the Met Office wouldn't recommend it. Fog about, you know, so we came up in her old jalopy instead.
Jack Poole, don't you dare call my Buick an old jalopy. I think you better go upstairs, see your room, and wash your hands for lunch, if everybody will excuse us.
Yes, of course.
Jalopy, indeed. Just for that, I'll make you drive it over to the golf course at Hanswick, where I intend to play you a stroker hole and skin you alive.
Well, Peter, what is it? What's happened?
I'm not quite sure how to say.
Oh, if it's a private matter, I quite understood.
Well, it is a personal matter. It's about my father. We have a family problem.
Well, perhaps we can help.
I don't know how anybody can help. See, I've been aware of a slight atmosphere at home just lately. I had an idea something was wrong between Father and Rosie. Last night I heard this awful row coming from their room. It must have been about 3 o'clock in the morning. Well, I went along the passageway. I intended to go in. I heard them shouting at each other. Oh, I shouldn't have listened, but I couldn't help it. Father was shouting and Rosie was crying. He was shouting about a girl. I gather Father's been having an affair with Penelope Finch.
This is old Jim Stockley, isn't he?
A tall girl who's always at hunting.
Everybody seems to know about Penelope Finch. Anyway, from what I could hear Rosie saying through the door, Father's been spending evenings with her in her cottage and taking her down to London with him on business journeys. They've been seen about the London clubs. Not by me, but by other people who live in these parts. Evidently, Father's affair with a Finch girl has been going on for some time. In fact, it's been the talk of the county. Rosie's only just found out.
Have you said anything about it to either of them?
This morning.
Yes. I saw for a moment just before I rang you up to put you off. I went to her room. She's been crying all morning. She said Father's humiliated her and made a laughing stock of Herefordshire, and she can't forgive him. God. Well, she's going to London first thing on Monday to see her solicitors. She's going to divorce him.
I'm sorry we were so long. I wanted to introduce Jack to Nanny. I've been telling him about that divine house your father and Rosie inhabit. I thought I might run him over for a drink tomorrow afternoon if they're not too busy, and then I can show him to them.
Show me to them? I'm not a prize pig.
Lunch is all ready, Miss Liz.
Shall we go in?
not going over to Layford this afternoon with Peter?
No, not this afternoon. He's got to go back there by himself more or less at once and see to something.
Coffee's ready, Miss Liz.
Thank you, Mrs. Gates.
See to what?
Oh, it was just something that cropped up this morning before he came over here. Coffee?
Yes, thank you, darling.
And that's why.
He seemed a little distrait at lunch. When I asked him if anything was the matter, he said he had a slight headache, didn't sleep very well. He's looking a bit wan. Been beating it up too much in London, I suppose.
I don't think it's that.
Oh, she certainly enjoyed flying over to Le Touquet to stay with you.
Yes, we had a lot of fun. You must come over yourself one of these days.
Oh, it's very kind of you, Paul, but you know, I'm not very keen on going abroad. Done very little travelling.
My brother's only been round the world 3 times with the Royal Navy.
Oh, not in France, eh? No, only a couple of days in Toulon as a guest of the French fleet back in 1920. Oh, week on the plage in Trouville. Digging when the girls were small. You going to have some coffee, Peter?
Oh, I won't, thank you, sir. I think I ought to be getting back, really. Excuse me.
All right, yes. Quite understood.
Well, thank you for having me over for lunch.
Not at all. Any time.
Goodbye, Phyllis.
Are you off so soon?
I must get back, yes.
I should have a lie down if I were you. Try and shake off that headache.
Yes, perhaps I will. Goodbye, Mr. Poole.
Oh, good Lord, not Mr. Poole. You make me feel 103.
Sorry, Jack, then, if it's all right.
Well, of course it's all right. He's not quite in his grave, you know.
Peter, I'll come and see you off.
Goodbye, sir.
Goodbye.
I'll willingly come over to Layford if you thought it might help.
No, that's very kind of you. But I don't want to drag you into our family affairs. Well, goodbye, Lizzie. Don't come out.
And then this extraordinary Armenian with a huge pearl tie-pin in his cravat put 5,000 francs on the red, and I watched his face as the croupier called Les Jeux sont faits, and he did not move a muscle, did he, Jack?
No, he's a big-time player, all right. Dolly Madison once told me he's supposed to be worth 2 or 3 million. And you know, when he plays golf, a rather indifferent game, usually on the ladies' course, he only tips his caddy a couple of francs.
Talking of caddies, sonny boy, if we're going all the way to Hanswick in my Buick...
We must get going. Right you are, old girl.
Jack Poole, if you call me old girl once more, I shall send you straight back to London on the next train.
Sorry, old thing. You'll excuse us, Commander. We'll get ready for the fray.
Yes, of course.
Come along well, Poole, and let us prepare for golf.
Poor Peter.
Yeah.
And poor Rosie.
Yes, poor Rosie.
I've only met the famous Penelope Fincher a couple of times at the Frasers. From what I've heard, she's a notorious husband snatcher.
Well, who told you that?
Well, everybody says so. She goes very well out hunting, apparently, which impresses the men, and wears rather daring dresses at parties.
Yeah, Geoffrey's only recently taken up hunting. I can't imagine he could keep up with her. Not at his weight.
Daddy, you're not taking this affair seriously, are you?
No, not very. Well, I just can't see Rosie and Geoffrey coming to grief over some ambitious little hunting field harlot. Reputation for breaking up marriages. No, they're both much too sensible.
I do hope they won't divorce. For Peter's sake as much as theirs.
I'm so sorry. This has rather mucked up your day.
Yes, it has rather. I was going to take the dogs over in my car and give them a good run in the woods with Peter's Labrador. And we were going into Horbury and have tea at the Copper Kettle. Haven't been there for weeks.
I'm so sorry.
Doesn't matter, I'll find something else to do.
Liz, not that it will happen, but if the worst did come to the worst and the Cartons do decide to split up, there's no reason why it should affect your friendship with Peter, is there?
No, not really. It's just...
Well, just what?
Oh, I don't know. I suppose I feel it might spoil things just a little. You know, being fond of someone whose father is... Well, someone who...
Yes, I know. Well, it depends on how much you love him.
I just wish this wretched thing hadn't happened. I wish it hadn't.
Now, how do you think Arthur's taking to me?
Difficult to tell with him. He seems well disposed towards you.
I have been trying damn hard, Phil. You have to admit that.
Oh, darling, you've been marvellous. A paragon of all the human virtues.
But how do I look as an investment? That's what matters.
Gilt-edged, my love.
We're onto a damn good thing, Phil. I know we are. The time's just right. And air transport is where the money's going to be. I think it's a damn good proposition for anyone with a few thousand to spare. It's a snip. I say, you don't half look gorgeous. I could eat you up.
Give me a kiss instead. I'm going downstairs now to talk to Arthur. Ease him into the idea a little. You'd better change.
Right you are. Good luck, PB.
I suggest you don't mention our scheme over dinner unless Arthur raises the subject first, which he may. Understand?
You are the boss, mem sub.
Yeah.
It's me, Arthur. May I intrude?
Oh, good Lord. Is it that late?
No, not very. I just got dressed earlier because I wanted to have a talk with you before dinner.
I see. Well, talk away.
Well, what do you think of him?
Poole? Oh, he seems a jolly sort of chap. He's cheerful enough.
He is, isn't he?
Well, it's just what you need, old girl. Tonic. Did you enjoy yourself in there too, Kay? I bet you do.
We had a wonderful time. Filled every minute of the day. Golf, bathing, drives along the coast, bridge, and eating. The restaurants are out of this world. I put on pounds.
Well, it doesn't show me, dear.
I had to starve for 2 whole days when we got back. I couldn't get into my clothes.
Worth it, though.
Oh, a lovely change. Badly needed.
Yeah. As I was just saying to Liz the other day, you know, you all need a little bit of fun and laughter, huh? Better luck all round.
I consider I was very lucky to meet Jack. Oh, don't be fooled by all that superficial joking and banter. He's not just a shallow playboy, you know. Far from it.
Oh, no, I'm sure you're right.
Underneath all that jesting is a very serious and intelligent man. In fact, he's cooking up rather a brilliant scheme at the moment, I think.
Is he?
Air charter.
Air charter?
Yes. He wants to start his own air charter firm. Oh, flying's the new thing, Arthur. I mean, for people, for cargo, for everything. It won't be long now before nothing, and no one goes by sea. Sea travel is finished. Air travel is what the future's all about.
Well. So, Jack Poole plans to launch a sort of Cunard line of the air, is that it?
Nobody knows more about it than Jack. He's been flying since he was 19.
Oh, so everyone keeps telling me.
Jack was in the air when aeroplanes were made of paper and bits of string.
Really? What are they made of now?
He has all the necessary technical knowledge and drive, and a great deal of business acumen. He's pretty clever with money matters.
We learnt in the casinos of Europe, no doubt.
Partly, yes. He'll need a partner.
A financial partner?
Yes.
What you mean is, Phil, he's got everything except the money.
Well, he has got some money. Quite a lot, really, promised by friends of his. Smallish sums, of course. It's just that with a big venture like this, you need a lot of capital, a really large investment.
Oh, where does he propose to find that?
Well, that, my dear brother, was one of the things I wanted to ask you about.
Me? Oh, Phil, I haven't got enough spare cash to launch a paper dart.
Oh, I know that, Arthur. I didn't mean that he wanted to ask you for money.
Oh, thank goodness for that.
No, what I wanted to ask you was, well, whether you thought that Geoffrey Cartland might be interested in a scheme of this kind.
My dear, I think as things are at present, Geoffrey Cartland would be the last person to approach for anything like that.
Well, why on earth not?
He's got plenty of trouble on his hands at the moment.
Well, not his business, surely, not Cartland Motors.
No. Matrimonial troubles.
Oh, God. Don't say they're splitting up.
Oh, no, not necessarily. Let's just say that Rosie and Geoffrey's marriage is going through a shaky patch at the moment. So I'll leave it at that. If Jack already has one machine, I'd advise him to start up in a small way with that. I'd build up the business gradually. Where's he going to base this business? Great Britain? France?
Oh, over here. Near London, Croydon or Heston, probably.
Where's he going to live over here? Permanently?
Perhaps. I don't know.
See, I understand he hasn't got a flat over here.
No.
And where does he stay when he comes over here? His hotel, club?
Oh, at his club, mostly. He has spent the odd night at my flat when he...
At your flat?
Oh, well, yes, just until he can use his club again. It's being refurbished or something.
Oh, this time of year? Oh, Phil. Which club is there?
Arthur, I don't know. What does it matter?
Well, it matters. You know, if he stays in your flat while Vicky is there in your care.
Oh, there's no need to fret, Arthur. Vicky's in no moral danger. Jack only flops on the sofa.
The odd night, twice or 3 times, I think that's all. Anyway, Vicky likes him. He amuses her, makes her laugh. She said he looked funny in his pyjamas.
I don't like it, Phil. You're not married.
What am I to do, then? Send the child off to stay with Laura? I don't want to impose on Dame Violet. And anyway, Vicky dreads going there. The woman's rather alarming, so I gather.
Well, all I can say is use your own judgment and remember she's only 19.
I will.
And I must go up and change.
All right.
Oh, by the way, how long are you and Poole staying?
Well, I was wondering, could we possibly stay till Tuesday or Wednesday, if you don't mind? Well, Jack doesn't have to be back in the Touquet till Thursday. Fresh air would do us so much good.
Oh, what about Vicky in London?
I'll ask Mrs. Bundy to sleep in the flat. She doesn't mind.
She and I'm off on Monday, first thing, shooting down in Hampshire with old Harry Sedgefield.
Oh, we can look after ourselves, as long as the Gates are here and Nanny.
Well, if you want to stay, suppose you can.
Good.
I must go and change.
Oh, you've caught me having a naughty whiskey and soda. What about you?
The same, please. Just past your brother on the landing. He doesn't look very happy. Is everything going on all right?
Well, yes and no.
How do you mean?
Would you believe our luck?
The Cartland marriage is in trouble. Well, precisely what trouble I neither know nor care. All I do know is Arthur thinks it would be very unwise to approach Geoffrey at this moment.
Oh, blasted nuisance.
Oh, don't worry too much. All is not lost. Arthur's going shooting, and we're staying on here till Wednesday.
Sorry, I don't follow.
We'll have the place to ourselves for a few days. Geoffrey only lives a few miles across the fields. Matrimonial trouble or not, it should be possible to get you two together before our time here is up. Don't you think?
You're right. Damn it.
Good morning. Did you sleep all right, Paul?
Me? Oh, yes, thanks like a top.
His name is Jack, Arthur, if you please.
Oh, yes. Yes, of course. Well, now, are you two coming to church this morning?
Oh, certainly, aren't we?
Can't wait.
By the way, Jack's rather keen to get in a day's hunting while he's here.
Is he?
Yes, and as the meet's at Claymore on Tuesday, I thought he might ride to Lula. She'll be up to his weight. He's quite light.
12 stone.
I wondered if you'd be a darling and ask Gates to get her ready for him on Tuesday.
Well, yes, I suppose so.
Good, thanks.
I shall follow Hans in my car and cheer him on.
You might find Geoffrey Cartland out.
I thought you said his marriage was on the rocks.
That's exactly. Layford 17, please. Oh, hello. Could I speak? Oh, Rosie. Arthur. Peter's told me your news. I'm so sorry. Well, yes, of course. Anything I can do to help. Well, Would you like to come over this afternoon? No, there's only Liz, Phil, and a chap she's got staying in her. I can get rid of them. They go for a walk or something. All right, then. About 3? Until then. Oh, good morning, Gates.
Sorry to disturb you over Sunday morning, sir. Just one or two things to settle before you leave tomorrow morning, sir.
Oh, far away.
Well, I've packed your guns, sir, and I put you in 500 cartridges. Will you be wanting your waterproof trousers and hat in the car?
Well, better put them in, I think, in case of rain.
Ah, very good, sir.
Oh, incidentally, about next week, Mr. Poole seems to fancy a day's hunting.
Oh, yes, sir.
Yes, Miss Phyllis thought we might put him up on Tallulah.
Oh, she'd be a bit fresh for him.
Oh, that's his problem.
Yes, sir.
Oh, Miss Phyllis assures me she can carry his weight, so you better saddle her up, put her on a curb, and hope for the best.
Ah, very good, sir. Yes, Mrs. Gates understood from Miss Liz that Miss Phyllis and the gentleman were stopping over until the middle of next week.
Why, I said that's all right, Gates.
Well, in that case, then, sir, what about the keys for the wine cellar?
Oh, what about it?
Well, if they should want wine while you're away, sir, will you be locking it up at all?
Take your point, huh? I'll leave the key with you.
Ah, yes, sir.
Then Miss Phyllis can ask you for what she decides to serve.
Sir?
Anything else?
No, sir.
Oh, then if you'll have the mare shot ready for Mr. Poole on Tuesday morning. And I thank you very much, Gates.
Sir?
Ah, there you are.
I thought I'd get ready early.
Yes, it's some time, yeah. Have the others finished breakfast?
Yes, they're getting ready for church.
Good.
Daddy, I hope you don't mind, but while you were talking to Gates, I rang up Playford to speak to Peter.
What did he say?
Well, that his father and Rosie aren't speaking. He thinks that she's going down to London tonight to consult her solicitors.
Well, Liz, don't worry too much about this, because as it so happens, Rosie is coming over here to see me this afternoon.
Oh, I see.
So the best thing you can do is to keep Jack and Phil clear this afternoon while I get a chance to talk to her.
Yes, all right. I'll suggest that we run over to Hanswick in my car or Phil's and slog round the golf course. He gave her a stroke a hole yesterday, beat her, and now she wants her revenge.
I certainly do. I played him for my collection money in church this morning.
Not much of a sporting type to me. More like a towny sort of chap.
Oh, doesn't follow. Just because he smokes cigars in his bedroom and keeps a bottle of whiskey on his dressing table.
Well, there you are.
Well, if Miss Phyllis gets a bit of cheerful company out of him, I'm sure she deserves it.
Oh, she'd do that all right. That's why they're stopping on here till Wednesday, for a bit of cheerful company. You'd think she'd have had enough of this place, wouldn't you, being stuck up here this summer while the governor was away at sea?
It is her own, Fred, you know. She grew up here. You seem to forget that. Come on, drink your coffee up and give me a hand. Wash these sprouts.
Well, I picked them, didn't I?
Yeah, now you can wash them.
You must admit it's ironical after all that's happened.
Yes.
If it weren't so ghastly, one could laugh. I mean, there were we, tramping around Europe, pretending to be man and wife for the benefit of the German Secret Service, while all the time Geoffrey was...
Rosie, I do assure you there is no point in thinking along those lines.
Well, how can I help thinking along those lines? Geoffrey has made a fool of me from one end of the county to the other.
I'm sure no one thinks of you as a fool.
Oh, I'm sure they do. And I'm sure they're right. I am a fool. A damned fool to have ever believed anything he ever said. Did you have a good day, darling? Yes, thank you. We found in Clarendon Spinney. Found what? A fox? No. A girl called Penelope Finch. She gave us a very good run. Oh. I'm so sorry. I mustn't.
No. You're very upset. You're very angry.
Yes, you're darned right I am, Arthur. More angry than hurt now. The hurt passed surprisingly quickly. The anger is going to stay for a very long time.
Rosie, you're bound to feel that. Angry, injured, resentful. But you mustn't start making decisions in that frame of mind. You really mustn't. Well, that's the point.
Decisions? What decisions?
I think you know what I mean.
Have you been speaking to Peter?
Oh, Liz rang him on the telephone, you know. I'm not unnatural. They're very good friends, and Peter's as upset about it as you are.
Peter is the only person who would have told you that I was thinking about divorce.
And was he right?
Yes, I am thinking about divorce. I'm thinking very seriously about divorce. In fact, it's all I can think about.
Rosie, that is a very big step to take. It's not one to be taken when your mind's in a turmoil.
Look, my mind may be in a turmoil, but it is not feeble.
I can still assess the disadvantages of living with a man who has disgraced and humiliated me in public and doesn't regret it.
Well, I'm sure he regrets it. If not now, he will, in time.
He doesn't regret it, Arthur, not one bit. He doesn't regret it. He doesn't apologize for it. He doesn't try and explain it. He doesn't care.
Well, see, I find it very difficult to believe.
You don't know Geoffrey, Arthur. You don't know him. Well, you think all men can come up to your standards.
Oh, look, my dear girl. Geoffrey is a middle-aged man. He's putting on a bit of weight, losing some of that youthful sparkle, as we all do. I've no doubt he's flattered at the thought that a girl under 30 finds him attractive.
Oh, what on earth could she find attractive about it?
When he thinks about it clearly, he'll realise how silly he's been. Good heavens, he couldn't care more for this chit of a girl than he cares for you.
Couldn't he?
No. Years of marriage, they're not to be thrown away lightly. They're far too precious, I know.
I could throw away my years of marriage very easily at this moment.
You don't say for better or worse in church without very good reason.
Don't know how bad worse can be.
Rosie, Geoffrey's behaved very badly, very stupidly. He's hurt you, and that is unforgivable. But you've got to put that hurt aside. You've got to consider what your life would be like if you do decide to divorce him.
What would it be like?
Well, I know we live in very different times nowadays, but life for a divorced woman, well, that can still be very difficult.
Mrs. Simpson isn't doing too badly.
Dear, do try and be serious and sensible.
Oh, Arthur, I'm sorry. I am so tired. I haven't slept for 2 nights, and it seems days since I've eaten anything.
Dear, that can very soon be rectified.
Oh, no, honestly, I couldn't, really. I'm all right.
Rosie, go home. Get some sleep. I'll drive you.
I've got my car.
Well, then you leave it here until tomorrow, because you're certainly not driving home by yourself.
All right. Thank you. You are very kind.
Now, my dear, think about it very clearly. Think about the consequences of divorce. And when you've done that, I'm sure you'll come to the conclusion that it's best for all concerned, and especially you, to forgive and forget.
Is it, Arthur? Is that how I'm going to live for the rest of my life?
I think you'd find it preferable to throwing away your marriage and facing life alone.
I'm still quite a young woman. Perhaps I could find someone else with a more honest disposition. Someone I could trust. I better go home. Home. Home is where the heart is. What fool said that? Home is where you go when there's nowhere else for you to be. Oh, God.
Good morning, Mrs. Gates.
Oh, I was just going to clear the breakfast things away, miss.
Well, leave it for a moment while we get ourselves some coffee.
Very good, Miss Phyllis.
Would you like to go into the dining room and get us a cup each? The commander has gone, hasn't he?
About an hour ago, Miss Phyllis.
Hope it's still hot.
It should be. Loaf at 1/7, please. Oh, Mr. Cartland, please. Oh, I see. When do you expect him back? Well, would you ask him to ring me just as soon as he gets in? It's Miss Bourne, Commander Bourne's sister from Larkfield Manor. Yes, he knows the number. Thank you. Goodbye. Damn.
Café noir pour deux, mademoiselle. Is he free to come?
He's not there.
May have nipped over to Monte for a weekend shemmy. Can't say I blame him.
No, he's gone to the stables. If he's gone out riding, he may be away for hours, and then it's too short notice. Oh, why can't people be in when you want them?
Don't worry. It'll be all right. You see.
The commander said they could stay on, for reasons best known to himself.
Well, they're carrying on as though they own the place. Do you know, Nanny, he smokes in bed. Ashtrays full.
Oh, disgusting.
Yeah. And when I was hanging his clothes up, I saw a bottle of whiskey in the bottom of the wardrobe.
There's nobody there to answer that telephone. Really. Yes, Commander, yes, I have a pencil. Yes. Yes. Yes, quite clear, yes. I'll see he gets that message. What, would you like a word with Phyllis? Yes, she's here. Yes, I'll put her on. It's the commander. He's in your telephone box.
Hello, Arthur. What's happened? You haven't broken down. Oh, I see. Yes, we're staying today and tomorrow so that Jack can hunt. We're leaving first thing Wednesday. We'll be all right. Lots of healthy walks and early bed. Do enjoy your shooting. Bye.
False alarm.
My dear brother, got as far as Gloucester and then forgot something vital to tell Frank Chapman at the farm.
No. Bad luck.
Hello, Winchley 8. Oh, good morning. How are you, Geoffrey? You got my message. Yes, well, it probably sounded urgent because I didn't want to give you too short notice. You haven't met my friend Jack Poole, have you, who's staying here? Well, I was wondering, as Rosie's away, I gather, is that right?
Yes, she's in London. She's gone to see the Admiral. She doesn't see very much of the old boy these days. Well, I had things here I had to attend to.
I was wondering if you'd like to dine here tonight. I've been trying to reach you.
That's very nice of you, thank you.
I suppose I could find someone to make up the 4.
Well, actually, I do have someone staying here with me.
Oh, fine. Both come. It'll make us even numbers.
Well, thank you. That's all right. Thank you. What time?
8-ish.
Black tie?
If you don't mind.
We'll be there at 8 o'clock. Thank you.
Looking forward to it. Bye. Success!
Well played. You're the top. You're the Colosseum.
It's Geoffrey's favourite tune.
And that's a good omen.
You know I'd do anything for you, Jackie boy.
Shh. Don't tell a soul that. Not even me.
Now, after dinner, I shall keep the friend out of the way and leave you and Geoffrey to talk.
No flirting, mind you.
Oh, don't be silly. Come and choose some wine. Something a bit special.
Did you keep yesterday's Sunday Times?
In the drawer, and do you think about nothing but newspapers?
Mrs. Gates, I'm sorry it's such short notice, but we'll be 2 extra for dinner.
Tonight, miss?
Yes, Mr. Cartland's bringing a guest. Oh, you can manage, can't you? Gates, would you show Mr. Poole the wine, please? You have the key to the cellar, haven't you?
Yes, Miss Phyllis. This way, sir.
Red meat, is it?
Yes, sir.
A nice drop of claret, then.
I want it to be a particularly good dinner tonight, Mrs. Gates.
Well, the roast's big enough for 4, miss. It's a nice piece of prime Scotch beef.
Fine. Soup?
There's always plenty of stock.
And for pudding?
My apple pie's special enough, would you say?
Fit for the king himself. We'll dine at 8 then.
Very good, Miss Phyllis.
Not dressed yet.
Oh, just going to, Nanny.
I'll catch cold.
I can give you roast potatoes and sprouts. Will that be all right, miss?
Excellent.
When you decant them, Gates, the trick is very gently so as not to disturb the deposit. And you give them a good 2 hours so they can breathe.
Very good, sir.
Drop of Chateau Margaux. Not the best year, but very well bred.
It's the commander's best claret.
Dozen or so left, aren't there, Gates?
Oh, yes, sir, I expect so.
Mr. Cartland likes good wine.
Mr. Cartland, is he coming to dinner?
That's right, Danny.
Oh, he knows a lot more than wines, does that Mr. Poole. He knows when he's on to a good bet. He's got Miss Phyllis in his pocket. In his hand, he has.
He's a sight too sure of himself, that one, if you ask me.
Well, I don't trust him. And I don't think the commander's going to like his best claret being drunk when he's not here.
Well, come in, Jack.
It's me.
What is it, Nanny?
You've invited Mr. Cartland for dinner tonight, eh?
I have.
Does the commander know?
No, he doesn't.
Don't you think, Phyllis?
No, Nanny, I don't. Now run along, there's a dear. I shall never get dressed.
Is the Cartland Motor Works? Birmingham?
Wolverhampton. That's where he told Rosie he was when he was seen in London with the girl from the Holbury Hunt, Penelope Finch. In Ciro's, I think it was.
If he hunts twice a week, how often does he go into the motor works? Genuinely, I mean.
Oh, as little as possible. 2 or 3 days a week, I think.
Pity his wife doesn't ride to hounds.
Yes, as it's turned out. Poor Rosie's taking it rather badly. Naturally. So humiliating with it all round the county.
Yes, the goings-on in the hunting field, eh?
So, avoid jokes about sugar daddies.
No time for jokes. I'll be bearding him about cars. Then a smooth takeoff, and before he realizes it, we're into aeroplanes. And don't you overdo the femme fatale with the other chappie.
You're jealous. Lovely. Good luck to us.
Evening, Gates.
Evening, sir.
I do hope we're not too early.
Not at all.
May I introduce my guest, Miss Penelope Finch, who was born.
How do you do? It's turned colder, hasn't it? Yes, my ears are tingling beautifully. So kind of you to invite me, too. Delighted. May I introduce Mr. Jack Poole, Mr. Geoffrey Cartland, and Miss Penelope... Did you say Finch? Yes, I did.
Hello. Joe, yes.
Would you like to come upstairs? Yes, I would, thank you.
How do you do?
Hello. I'm sort of deputy host. What's your poison?
Sherry, please. Arthur's away shooting, I understand.
Yes, in Hampshire. Dry?
No, medium, please.
In Jerez, they only drink it dry, and they make the stuff. Always chilled, of course. Have you been there for the fiesta?
No, I don't know the place.
That's how it gets its name. Sherry Jerez, but you know that, of course. They practically live on dry sherry for 4 days. Cold, sober. They say it's because it's not adulterated. The medium is.
Well, here's to an adulterous glass of sherry.
Yes.
We both hunt with the Holbury.
Yes, I gathered that Geoffrey had taken it up. Was that where you met?
Poor lamb came all wrong at a 5-bar gate, got thrown right in front of me. I stopped and helped him up, told him why his mount had refused. When he recovered his wind, he suggested I gave him a little, well, schooling, the finer points.
And you've been good friends ever since?
Yes, we have.
Do excuse me, I must go and see about dinner. You'll come down when you're ready, won't you?
Yes, it's a family business, and that my father started by making small parts in a shed. Actually, I don't believe that I was cut out for motor engineering, any more than for running a business. But you do have to be there fairly regularly, otherwise wrong decisions are made, and it's very tiring. Actually, recently I thought about selling out my shares in Cartland Motors. I'm getting a bit tired of it. Also, it does make inroads into my private life, at my time of life. So if you're the only one who wants to invest a lot of money in motor cars, please let me know.
Oh. Yes. If I do, I will. Not quite my neck of the woods, though. Motors. Up there. That's for me. Flying's the game.
Flying, eh? You pilot yourself?
Rather. Got a puss moth at present. You know, high-wing monoplane, single-engine machine. She gets me from A to B by the shortest direct route. As a matter of fact, I'm rather in your situation.
But you're not in engineering?
No. Looking for a touch of the old capital myself. Someone to put in a few thousand.
Ah.
Oh, please. Don't let me interrupt.
Yes. Chap I've known years. Started a flying school. Heston, where I first got the bug, actually. 2 years ago, he decided to branch out into passenger carrying. Not the big transcontinental stuff, Imperial Airways, nothing like that. Just, say, Scotland for the grouse or golf, Ireland for the salmon, flying jockeys to race meetings, simple twin-engine jobs, up to 7 or 8 passengers prepared to pay a little extra for the privilege of getting there fast. Done exceedingly well, he has.
You're going in with him, or you're starting up in competition?
My idea is to do the same, but for freight as well. I've just been over to de Havilland to see the new mark of their Dragon Rapide. It's a dream. All we have to do for cargo carrying is foot out the seats.
You really are going in for this, aren't you?
Just coming under starter's orders.
How much does an airplane like this cost?
A Rapide? A very good question. Any plane the monarch buys must be good, by royal appointment, eh?
You're the king has one.
Mm-hmm. Started a royal flight with this very plane. Bought it when he was Prince of Wales, and that's a recommendation, if you like.
But your initial investment is going to be very large.
No. A Rapide costs, say, 2.5 thou, old chap. That's chicken feed in capital terms.
We've just transported a replacement engine from Wolverhampton to Bristol, urgently by road. How much quicker if we'd flown it?
100 miles, can't be more. In a Rapide, under an hour. Less if there's a tailwind. Air transport's the thing of the future. I'd stake money on it.
Well, you are, aren't you?
Huh? Oh, yes, the capital I'm contributing myself, yes.
How many planes do you need to start with?
Say half a dozen?
That is £15,000 just for the aircraft.
It doesn't have to be 6. I could take off with 3, or 2, or even 1. That's the beauty of the idea. It's flexible.
You've certainly done some thinking on the subject, haven't you?
Rather. Do you know, every time I land at an aerodrome, the increase in aerial activity is most remarkable. Heston, Hanwell, Stag Lane, they're all buzzing now.
Do I gather from that you fly your own aeroplane, Mr. Poole?
It keeps me out of mischief, you know. What would you like?
Gin and Italian, please. I've heard it's terribly good fun out there in the clouds.
It is. Come for a flip sometime. She takes 2 passengers.
You can go if you like, Penny, but I have no head for heights.
Oh, but it's closed in. It's like being in a motor car. None of that flying helmet, open cockpit goggles, you know. None of that lark.
Thank you. Come along, Geoffrey. One should try everything. You might like it.
You're not getting me into an aeroplane, whatever you say.
Let me recharge that.
Oh, thank you.
Well, I think you're doing splendidly, Mrs. Gates.
Now, leave me to it, Miss Phyllis. It'll be all right.
Yes, good. It all seems to be coming on very well.
What on earth did she want to come in for, getting under my feet?
Don't ask me. I wasn't here.
I don't like all this going on with the commander and the girls not here.
Oh, you'll like it even less when I tell you who arrived with Mr. Cartland.
Who?
Come in here, bold as brass, all dolled up to the nines. That Miss Finch that all the fuss is about.
You mean to say he's brought her here? Ah, but are you sure it's her?
I saw it with my own eyes, didn't I, over at Leaford, when I went over to help Joe with that foal. Last time Mrs. Cartland was in London, a pair of them came into the stable yard, been out hunting together.
And he's got the nerve to bring her here. I mean, to this house. A And there's me cooking a dinner for her. Well, it's a giddy limit, that is. What is the world coming to?
Things is not what they was, that's for sure. Nobody sets any standards to go by anymore. You can't even look up to royalty these days, it seems.
No, you're not certain about that, Fred. I keep telling you.
Oh, you remember that bit I read out to you? About that divorce at Ipswich, Mrs. Simpson?
No, I still can't believe that's got anything to do with our king. It's somebody that's jealous of him being so popular that's putting these rumours about. That's what's causing it.
Well, you should hear what they're saying now down at the Loda Bay.
No, I don't want any taproom tittle-tattle.
Oh, I won't tell you then.
Oh, go on, you've got to now.
They say that the king is taking her about with him. Quite open, doesn't care who knows what anybody says. Oh, there's going to be a right battle between him and Mr. Popen, they reckon.
Oh, dear, I do hope it's all rumours.
Yes, well, they're not just holding hands, are they? Him turned 40, and she with 2 divorced husbands living. Them two in there, it's the same, no decency.
Oh. It's Mrs. Cartland I'm sorry for.
Yeah, well, you would be, wouldn't you? Oh, I agree. Anybody would.
Thank you. So you two are, as it were, keeping the place warm while the rest of the family's away?
We're leaving Wednesday morning. My brother's only away for a day or 2.
Liz is in town too, isn't she?
And Vicky is studying very hard at the Royal Academy of Music. I think it's good for the girls to get away from the house sometimes.
Yes, I heard. Poor girls. To lose their mother and a sister. How dreadful.
And for Arthur, his wife and favourite daughter.
Yes.
1936 is proving rather a fateful year all round. I presume you've been up in Mr. Poole's aeroplane.
Oh, yes, rather.
He's promised to take us up. Geoffrey and me.
Oh, have you, Jack?
Yes.
You only have to say when, Jack.
What I'd like to do, old chap, apropos our discussion, is to drive you over to Hatfield and ask de Havilland to demonstrate the Dragon Rapide. No flying, I promise you.
What a lovely idea. When could we do that? Oh!
Oh, I'm most terribly sorry. Was that my fault?
It's just a drop, really. Don't bother.
No, but the vermin will stain unless it's taken out at once.
Penny,
Please
do
come
perhaps.
upstairs.
It's a pity to spoil the dress first time on.
I'm sure that Nanny will get it out for you.
Why can't women hold their liquor?
What on earth do you mean? She's sober.
Oh, sorry, old chap. Bad joke. Holding it, spilling it.
And by the way, old son, I'd prefer it if you didn't talk too much about flying. I'm not very keen on the idea.
But you don't have to go up. Just sit in the machine on the ground. You'll love it.
Yes, but Penny will want to go up, and then she'll want me to go up. Do you understand?
Oh. Yes. Try the dry this time.
No, just the medium, thank you. I'm not a very adventurous chap, you see.
What a frightful bore.
Nanny, could you come, please? Here, pop this on. Oh, Nanny, Miss Finch has had a slight accident.
It's gin.
And Italian vermouth, yes.
So it will stain.
Oh, I'll try and sponge it out and dry it in my own fire. You'll have to wait, though.
Thank you, Nanny, so much. Do you mind if I go down? I'm sure she won't be long.
So the new pupil, Lord, whatever his name is, says to the instructor, "It's not the taking off bit I mind, nor the flying level. It's bringing the damn thing down again that worries me." So the instructor says, "Well, my lord, I've never heard of anyone leaving one up there."
Yes, I can see how it gets a hold on you.
It changes your way of life, old man. I wouldn't try to convert you. Wouldn't have to once you'd been up.
You make it sound very attractive.
I've got a picture of the Rapide in my room.
No, please, don't bother.
No bother, old chap.
Geoffrey, as we're alone, might I say something?
Yes, of course.
Both you and Rosemary have been so wonderful to Arthur and my nieces. Really you were, and we're very grateful.
We just did what little we could. Actually, we felt quite helpless about it.
The least I can do is to say what's on my mind. May I be very frank?
About Penny?
Well, yes. Oh, please don't think I'm taking sides.
I'll try not to.
Geoffrey, isn't it different to be seen out with her in London to well, bringing her here, to this house.
You're embarrassed?
Oh, no. Not personally. But it's bound to get round the village. The servants are sure to talk.
We've been seen about here together as much as we've been seen about together in London. It's no secret, you know.
That isn't quite the point I was trying to make.
I think you're
Here
gently
it
talking.
is. See what you think.
Well, you're very lucky. It's come right out.
Yes, you've made quite a good job of it, haven't you?
You better put it on. They were waiting for you.
Thank you. Well, give me a hand, will you?
So the passenger part then becomes cargo area, plus the passenger luggage space, of course. The takeoff weight's 5,500 pounds.
Yes, I see. Jack, I hate to interrupt, but Phyllis and I were...
Oh, I do beg your pardon. I'll show you later.
Thank you. As I was saying, I think you've jumped to a conclusion. There's something I want to make quite clear before Penelope comes down again. She and I became friendly when I took a fall during a hunt. She turned back to see if I was all right. The others just galloped on and just left me lying there in the mud. I suspect some of them were laughing, but not Penny. Well, since then, she's become very important to me. Much more important than that pack out there hunting. So I've decided recently I think we'll move away from these parts. Go live somewhere else, perhaps even abroad.
With...
Yeah. So you see, you were jumping to a conclusion. Do you really think I'd have brought her here if it'd just been a casual affair? I have more consideration for your family than that. I'm going to marry Penny.
And Rosemary is definitely going to divorce you.
I shall give her grounds. I'll leave her pretty well off, very well off, in fact. She won't need money again for the rest of her life. That's why I want to sell my interest in Cartland Motors, Jack. Of course, she'll have Layford Park. Won't leave me very much to lean back on, but what are riches where happiness is concerned? Don't you agree, Jack?
Oh, yes, of course.
You all right now?
Yes. I'm looking forward to my dinner. Is everyone else as famished as I am?
Promise you they feed very well in this house.
Well, how are things in the dining room? Are they growing yet?
Oh, no, far from it. Chatting away as if butter wouldn't melt in their mouths. You know, you'd never dream it of that Mr. Cartland unless you knew. But is that Mr. Poole's intentions honourable? That's what worries me most.
I think you'll need to let Phyllis decide that for herself, you know.
Oh, I know, Nanny. It's nothing to do with me. I know that.
I think Jimmy Lacey was right after all.
Oh, and who's Jimmy Lacey?
Well, a local darts champion. Works for a local solicitor's office. Just you listen to this. The decree nisi granted to the wife of the American Mr. Ernest Simpson at Ipswich recently has now been challenged. An intervention has been entered by a Mr. Stevenson, a law clerk with a firm of solicitors. Well, Jimmy reckons that the firm that this Mr. Stevenson works for sometimes acts for Mr. Baldwin himself.
That's as clear as mud to me, Fred.
Well, I'm trying to explain. Anybody can challenge a decree nisi, and this is Mr. Baldwin's way of stopping the king marrying Mrs. Simpson.
But I don't see him wanting to marry a divorced woman. Not our king.
Well, it's these days, isn't it? I mean, them in there's just the same. And here's me, having to wait on them.
Would you like an aspirin?
No, they're no good. It's not a normal headache. I just have to lie down till it goes.
They do come on suddenly, don't they?
5 minutes ago, I was as right as rain. It's such a bore.
Or would you like to lie down upstairs?
No, this will do for the moment.
Aspirin cure my headaches.
A migraine isn't a headache. My doctor says there aren't any pills for migraines.
What brings it on, do you think? Worry?
I'm not worrying if you mean Geoffrey and me.
Well, I imagine you accept that people are bound to disapprove, perhaps even cut you. That doesn't worry you?
Not in the least. I've been a target for gossip all my life. What is it? Nothing.
I agree, but it can hurt.
We're going to be married, you know.
Yes, so I gather.
That will stop the tongues wagging. Those that don't, well, when I throw parties at Layford, I shall only invite my loyal friends, my real friends.
Serve the gentleman first, would you, Mrs. Gates, please?
Very good, Miss Phyllis.
So you're going to live at Layford?
Of course, where else?
You do know, don't you, that Geoffrey isn't all that keen on the hunting set?
That's why Rosemary's let him down so frightfully. She could have helped him become accepted. Given more parties, invited the right people, as one does in those circumstances. I fully intend to ride to hounds with Geoffrey as master.
Really? You've planned that far ahead?
Why not?
Oh, leave it there, Mrs. Gates, please.
Yes, Miss Phyllis.
No coffee for me, thank you.
I don't want to disillusion you, but I think Geoffrey has rather different ideas. I gather he intends to leave Herefordshire altogether, and perhaps even live abroad.
What?
Oh, for God's sake, don't say I told you. I'm sure he'll tell you himself when the time's right.
Live abroad? How do you know that?
He told me just before dinner. He said that if it comes to a divorce, Mrs. Cartland is to have Layford. He was very clear about it.
We will see.
Ask him.
I intend to. Later.
How's it, my dear?
Frightful, darling. We really must go. I simply can't stand it.
That is that?
Unbearable.
I'm sorry. I think I'd better take her away with me.
Yes. Very unfortunate. Poor old thing. Rotten for her. I say, before you depart altogether, if I do hear of anyone interested in your business, I'll let you know. Could I have your card?
Yes, of course. You know, one doesn't realize how costly an upheaval like this can be until you have to face it.
Doing the decent thing's jolly expensive, I see that. Still, if you happen to meet anyone who wants to put a few quid into Poole Aviation Limited, let me know.
All right. You know, Jack, if it wasn't for these other upsets, I'd be very, very interested in your new idea. I'm against flying myself. I think you're on a winner. Still, can't be
I'm
helped.
not looking for a vast sum. A capital outlay of only...
No, I'm
well,
sorry. I've got enough on my plate at the moment as it is. Let's get my coat.
Right. Me.
Tell me, is Drac trying to get Geoffrey to put money into this aeroplane thing?
What makes you say that?
He talked of little else.
He's very keen on flying.
And always brought the conversation back to it, didn't you notice?
I can't say I did, no.
I did.
Of course, there is a way round it, you know.
Around what?
We could arrange a trip to de Havilland, just you and I, without breathing a word, so there'd be no question of your being chivied into leaving terra firma. I'm sure you'd find it interesting.
We'll see, shall we?
Now, we must keep in touch, Geoffrey.
Thank you for a splendid evening. I'm sorry I had to end so soon.
It couldn't be helped. I won't say it's all my fault. I didn't ask the wretched thing to come on.
Perhaps you dine with Jack and me when you're next in London.
Geoffrey has my card.
Oh, has he? That would be nice, wouldn't it, Geoffrey? We'd like that, thank you.
Goodbye.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. I could strangle that woman.
Steady on, old thing. Wait till they're out of earshot.
She's got him trussed up like a chicken. Blast her interference.
Come on. Let's sit down and work out the state of play.
Anyway, I told her.
Told her what?
Well, she's assuming that if they marry, they'll live over there. She sees herself as mistress of Layford, with Geoffrey as master of hounds.
Not quite what he plans, eh?
Well, that's what I told her. Let's hope it sparks off a god-awful row between them. Splits them up once and for all.
Could work.
Leave it with you, then. Just thought I'd mention it. Good night, then.
Well, I think you should say something, Nanny. After all, it's our duty to tell her.
Dear, I don't like gossip. I never did. I said, if Phyllis doesn't know, then it is my place to see she does.
It's not repeating gossip, Nanny. I got it from the horse's mouth, didn't I? I mean, grooms is well known for that sort of thing. Well, they get plenty of opportunity, don't they? And I'm only telling you exactly what he told me, no more. And I believe him.
Ah, yes, I know.
See you in the morning, then, Nanny.
Good night.
I'd do anything to stop her getting him short of murder, and I'm not sure about that.
You've done enough for one day.
Oh, she'll get him to live over there and chuck Rosie out, you'll see.
Then you'll have to do something more drastic, won't you?
Such as?
Excuse me, dearie, but I need to have a word with you.
Yes, Nanny.
In private, please.
I'll go and have another glass of brandy.
Now, I've no wish to tell tales, but Gates knows the groom over at Layford, and he's... Oh, dear me, this sounds awful like gossip.
Well, go on, Nanny, please.
Well, you've heard all about this young woman that was here tonight, I'm sure.
I didn't invite her, Nanny. She was foisted
Oh,
on
no,
me.
I'm not meaning that, dear. No, but Gates says that Mr. Cartland can't know the sort of woman she is.
Well, all I can say is if he doesn't, he's the only person in Herefordshire.
Oh, well, he may know she's got other gentlemen admirers, but... Oh, dear, I don't know how to say this. You see, Gates says that...
Say it, Nanny. Come along.
Well, this groom over at Layford, he's been boasting to Gates that he's... Well, he's quite friendly himself with her.
I understand exactly what you're saying, Nanny, and thank you very much. It's very considerate of you.
Oh. Well, I'll say good night.
Good night.
Now, that could blow the whole thing sky high if you tell him that.
You were listening.
I heard every word. The door wasn't quite closed.
Do you think I should?
Of course you should. Damn it, his own groom.
Oh, Jack, I couldn't.
Do you know, he as good as told me that if his finances weren't so committed to this divorce and alimony nonsense, he'd be very interested in coming in with me. Oh, he looked quite sad about it.
Oh, that settles it. I've got to tell him somehow. We must kill this affair stone dead.
Why try to put him off her?
What?
I've a much better idea. Save you the embarrassment of having to blacken her to Geoffrey. I know a much better way of seeing off that trollop on horseback.
Well, how, Jack?
Tell his wife.
Rosie.
Tell her everything you know. It's dead easy. She's in London for a week, isn't she?
Mm.
Right. You telephone her. You've something very important to tell her. You want her to come round to your flat soon as she can. Say tomorrow afternoon. We'll leave here first thing in the morning.
Oh, for brains like yours.
Is that all you find attractive about me?
Stop it. Snag.
I don't know her father's number.
What's his name?
Oh, my, he's an admiral. Arthur served under him in Hong Kong. Burrell, Sir something.
Director inquiries, please.
Jack, wait. Are you sure?
Admiral Sir Michael Burrell, Queensgate.
Hello, could you get me a London number, please? Admiral Sir Michael Burrell, Queensgate, but I'm afraid I've forgotten his number.
We are doing the right thing.
Yes, you are. Right. Thank you. Hello, could you get me a London number? Kensington 7913. Mm-hmm.
She may be at the theatre or something.
I'll lay you 2 to 1 on she's in.
You'd bet on flies walking up a window, wouldn't you?
Yes, I would if I knew the form and the state of the going.
Does Mrs. Cartland happen to be in, please? Thank you. Rosie, it's Phyllis. How are you? Well, actually, I'm still at Larkfield, but I'm motoring up to London tomorrow morning with a friend of mine, Jack Poole. Yes, that's right. Could we possibly meet in London? There's something I want to tell you as soon as possible, and I can't really talk about it on the telephone.
Irresistible.
Would tomorrow afternoon be all right? Oh, fine. Come and have tea at my flat. Say about 4. It's just off the Marylebone Road, and the address is... Oh, yes, I'll hang on. She's gone to get a pencil.
Penny, do try to relax. She'll bring on another headache.
Oh, let's go, Geoffrey. I only suggested it as we were passing. If they'd have been here, we could have given them a simple apology. I want us to stay friends with the Bournes, that's all.
I haven't agreed that we're going to live at Layford Park yet, you know.
In case we do.
Oh, good afternoon, Nanny. Thank you, Mrs. Gates.
Good afternoon. I understand you want Miss Bourne's telephone number in London.
If you don't mind, thank you.
Mrs. Gates seemed unwilling to give it to us for some reason.
Now, the telephone number is Langham 2315. You should get her there by now. They left well before lunch.
Thank you, Nanny.
Is there anything the matter, Mr. Cartland?
No. Thank you.
I hope Miss Phyllis said something to him after Nanny told her.
Yeah, Miss Phyllis needs a word or two in her ear about the fella she's carrying on with, too.
Now, stop interfering with family. That's different.
Different? Huh. But with Mr. Cartland and her, and Miss Phyllis and him... Oh, Fred, you should have seen the state he left his room in. Oh, cigarette ash all over the carpet. Nothing in its proper place. And the king risking his throne, if what you tell me's true. Well, there's only one word for it. Loose living.
That's 2 words, and I don't think you should use them.
Hello. Put me through to the manager, will you? My name's Poole. J.C.R. Poole. I have an account with you. Bertie? Jack. Jack Poole, how are you? Yes, I did get your letter. Then I had to nip over to the continent, and I've only just got back from a lovely weekend in the country. Yes, not even back at my own place yet. I do intend to bring it down. In fact, I'm going to wipe the damn thing out altogether. Get into the black. Yeah, I admit I have said that before, but this time I'll lay you a straight £100 that my overdraft will be non-existent in, say, 3 months. Probably less. You see, I've met Geoffrey Cartland. You know, the owner of Cartland Motors.
Are you sure they're engaged speaking? I've tried several times. Are you ringing the right number? Langham 2315.
Right, then we nip over on Saturday to Biarritz, see what the chemis's like. On Sunday morning, we knock a ball about Giberta, back in time for dinner at the Savoy Grill. Hmm? Right. Look, Bobby, you get in touch with the other chaps, will you? Yeah, you give me a blow tomorrow at the club. I must rush. Bye.
Who was that?
Wrong number. Some idiot wanting his bookie. Sounded half-cut to me.
I had to wait ages to be served. Must be nearly 4.
All but. Newtown Ford for the Manchester November Handicap.
You backed it?
No, just fancy it.
Jack,
What is it, old thing?
wouldn't it be better to set up this idea yourself? I mean, without anyone outside being involved.
Could be. Better to bring someone else in. Share the investment, if nothing else. Why do you ask?
It seems awful that so much depends on how Rosie reacts.
You're just getting a touch of the cold feet, that's all. Have a snifter, old thing. You're a bit dragged down from the journey here, that's all.
Oh, God, it's her.
Hello, Rosie.
Hello, Phyllis. I am grateful you rang. My father's been going on at me for 2 whole days.
Do come through.
May I introduce Jack Poole?
How do you do?
Hello, Mrs. Cartland.
Oh, Rosie, please.
Can I get you a drink?
Whiskey and a little soda, thank you.
A little soda. Right.
Oh, dear, Rosie. Where do I begin? I've been working myself up to what I want to say to you. I'd rather come straight to the point and get it over with, if you don't mind.
Well, I think I know what it's about.
I expect you do. We saw Geoffrey last night. He came to dinner.
So that I could meet him. Phyllis has told me how kind you've both been to the Bourne family.
Geoffrey is marvellous at difficult times.
Yes, I'm sure.
If I decide to divorce him, he will give me grounds. My solicitor asked me that this morning. I told him that he would make it as easy as possible.
Not thinking of divorce, are you? Seriously?
Well?
Go to court and the lawyers win, everybody else loses. Dirty linen in public, all that.
My father made me seek legal advice. He doesn't like Geoffrey. He didn't approve of my marrying him. In fact, his opinion of him hasn't changed one iota. He keeps saying, get shot of him, as if he were an old warship to be scrapped. Well, Geoffrey has his faults. We all have, haven't we? For one thing, he can't resist a pretty face, you may have noticed. But this time it's different. It's gone on longer, too long. More apparent. As if he wanted me to find out. You do know she has quite a reputation locally.
Your husband seems to think that he's the only man in the world in her eyes. It's a sort of confidence trick. She's set her cap at him, all right.
You think she's serious and he isn't?
Not quite. She is making him take it seriously.
Well, in that case, there's not much point in talking about it. Perhaps if I do nothing at all.
No. Well, that's not how we saw it, is it, Jack?
Something needs to be done, I'd say.
You see, when I rang to invite Geoffrey to dinner, he asked if he could bring a friend. I said, delighted, of course. He arrived with her.
It's not possible.
He did. And when I got her alone, she openly admitted that... Well, she sees herself as not only the next Mrs. Cartland, but as the centre of the Horbury social circle entertaining at Layford Park. She even said she'd see to it that Geoffrey became master of hounds when her uncle gave up.
And you say Geoffrey goes along with all this?
He is set on marrying her.
Oh, dear God.
It's just infatuation, that's all. He'll get over it. He just needs someone to extricate him from her clutches.
Geoffrey will never get hounds in a million years, and he knows it.
Times are changing, Rosie. It may be possible, it may not. The point is that she is capable of lulling him into believing it possible.
Shall I get it?
It's sure to be for me. Excuse me. Langham 2315.
Is that Phyllis Bourne? Yes. At last. Penelope Finch, I've been trying to get you for ages. Your line's been engaged all the time.
Oh, well, that's odd. Nobody's used the telephone while we've been here. Just a wrong number, that's all.
Well, anyway, now that I've got you, I just want to say I'm sorry for the fiasco last night, that's all.
Which fiasco?
My migraine, of course. There wasn't any other fiasco, was there?
No.
It was genuine, you know.
Oh, I'm sure it was. Why'd you say that?
I didn't want you to think it was an excuse.
An excuse for what?
Please don't be difficult.
I'm not. I just didn't know what you were getting at.
I'm not getting at anything. I'm just apologizing because I don't wish to get on the wrong side of your brother and his family.
Oh, I thought you were apologizing for having a headache.
Of course, there's nothing else to apologize. What are you implying?
I can't talk now. I have people here.
I do not need your veiled comments on anything I do. It's none of your concern.
It so happens... Ugh.
She hung up on me. She had the effrontery to hang up, and I rang up to apologize. How can one be friends with people like that?
I was trying to show him what he was missing by being dead set against flying. Now, if you and Geoffrey were to come up for a flip sometime, when this is all straightened out, of course.
You mean if?
Oh, it will be.
Everything you have said confirms my feelings. This time it is different.
Not if you tell him exactly what she told me. Make him see what sort of a creature she is.
The predatory female in action.
There is something else he should know.
We have first-hand information that Miss Finch has rather a penchant for grooms.
We don't want to see Geoffrey destroyed in the county. That's why I wanted to talk to you, Rosie. Thank you. You will speak to him, won't you? Don't do anything hasty, please. That's exactly what Arthur said to me when I went to him for advice before I came up to London to see my father. Poor Arthur, with everything he's gone through. He's so understanding. He seems very alone now.
He has Liz and Vicky there.
Yes, poor girls.
You mustn't think about Arthur. Or the girls.
It's very nice to have such good friends. I appreciate your concern. But my mind's in a whirl. I don't know what to do. I really don't.
Oh, Eileen, you shouldn't be bringing up my core.
Oh, it's all right. Anyway, Fred's out at the garage, tinkering with Miss Elizabeth's new Vauxhall car. You know, she's had nothing but trouble with that dratted thing ever since she bought it. Well, in fact, Fred told the commander yesterday straight out. He said to him, he said, when you buy a second-hand car, you are buying somebody else's mistake.
Mm-hmm. And what's young Jim doing, may I ask?
Oh, the commander sent him over to the dairy for something or other.
Still, you shouldn't be carrying heavy weights on that shoulder of yours. Why don't you get Dr. Copper to have a look at it?
He asked, Nanny.
Oh?
Yeah? But he says there's nothing to be done about it. It's a very bad case of basketitis.
Oh, dear me, what's that? I never heard of that.
It's his little joke, bless him. Carrying heavy shopping bags. You know, basketitis.
Oh, go on then.
Oh, well, I better be getting back to my kitchen. Fred and Jim will be ready for their tea. That'll mean another political argument, I suppose.
Why that?
Oh, I'm afraid Jim and Fred just don't see eye to eye about that sort of thing, Nanny. Mind you, I suppose we'll all have to brush up our politics now there's going to be a by-election round here.
A by-election, is there?
Yeah, didn't you know? Oh, there's posters all over the village. Outside the post office and on all the telegraph poles.
Oh, I never have anything at all to do with politics. I just vote Conservative and there's an end of it.
Well, then it's to be hoped the commander's still Conservative. Because we'll have to vote for him, won't we?
What's the commander got to do with it?
Have you not heard, Nanny?
No, I have not.
Well, Mrs. Westby at the grocer's was saying it's all to do with old Sir Walter retiring from Parliament, you see. We've got to have an election.
I know all that.
Well, so that we can choose a new MP.
And you thought that the command... Oh, no, hardly, no. Put that right out of your head. Oh, no, the commander's never been interested in anything like that. Not politics. No.
And now what should we drink to?
Better luck in 1937.
Yes, for all of us. And here's to the hope that Geoffrey comes to his senses and the ultimate survival of your marriage. And God save the King.
Well, I will drink to an increased Conservative majority for the new honourable member for Horbury Westcombe Division, my very dear friend Arthur Bourne, MP. Oh, at least say you'll think about it.
Well, Rosie, I will promise you this much. That if anyone could talk me into it, you flatterer, it would be you.
Oh, thanks, I like that.
You have a knack of giving a man confidence, you know. You're just like your father. You're very good at talking people into things.
Don't let's go into that again.
No, we won't.
Anyway, there are times when I could do with a little more confidence myself.
Yes, I know.
I wish I could be confident that Geoffrey will tire of Miss Finch before it goes too far. Somehow I can't.
Oh, what is it now?
I'm sorry, Commander, if I'm disturbing you, but it's Mrs. Hedges. She's wanting a word with you about the carol singing at Christmas. She's at the front door.
Oh, Lord, is she?
Yes. I'm on my way.
No, don't go. Nan, show Mrs. Hedges into the hall, would you? I won't be a moment. Do stay. Finish your sherry. I'll be back.
Morning, Arthur. How do you do, Mrs. Cartland? We haven't met, but I do know all about you. I do hope I haven't interrupted tete-a-tete.
No, not really, no.
No, if you'd like to speak privately, I can easily go to the other
Gracious
room.
me, no. I hardly think the date of the carol rehearsal is a closely guarded secret, do you, Arthur?
No, indeed not. Do stay, Rosie. Help us with our deliberations. We take these things extremely seriously in Winchley. And Mrs. Carton lives over at Layford, of course.
Oh, indeed, I know. And as a matter of fact, I knew I was going to have the pleasure of meeting you before I turned into the drive. Your car is rather conspicuous, isn't it?
Oh, yes, it is, Mrs. Hedges. I'd much rather have one of those darling little baby Austins. But my husband had it made especially for me, to his own design. As you say, it is very conspicuous. Everyone knows exactly where one can be found.
Then perhaps you should have one designed especially for him, Mrs. Cartland. Then you'd know at any given time exactly where he was. Don't you think that might be rather useful?
Winifred, shall we discuss the carol rehearsal? The girls will be coming up in a day or two, but I think we ought to settle a day.
Well, the evening of the 11th, if that's all right, here, as you've so much space and a good piano.
Yes, I should think so, if that's suitable for everyone. The 11th, right. At what time?
Well, 9:30. That is if you'll have finished your dinner.
For you, Winifred, I shall try. 9:30 it is. Right. Is there anything else we ought to discuss?
No, I don't think so.
Well, then you're a very naughty girl. You shouldn't have come all this way just to fix a date. Could have telephoned. Oh, not that we aren't very pleased to see you, of course. Well, now that you are here, may I offer you a drink?
Oh, gracious me, no. It's far too early for a busy bee like me to touch anything. No, I never take a drink until much later, when I have my dinner with Adrian, and then it's only a glass of wine. As a matter of fact, there was something I'd rather like to discuss. There's a rumour in the village that you've been invited to stand as Conservative candidate for the by-election. Is it true?
Well, it has been mooted, yes. The suggestion came from the retiring member via Lord Sedgefield.
So, Walter? Well, all I've got to say is he must have taken leave of his senses.
Oh, thank you very much.
Oh, don't be naughty, don't be stupid, Arthur, really. How silly of you. It's just that when Adrian was talking about it, I thought he must be joking.
Oh, it's very kind of you.
Arthur, you know perfectly well that everybody respects you around here. You're a wonderful man, and you were a gallant officer when you were in the Navy, but a politician. Oh, do say you're not serious. Make life so much more simple for my Adrian.
Adrian? Well, how does he... Oh, I see. Is he in the running?
Well, actually, not yet. But I'm quite sure that if you were to consider standing down, the local organisation...
Standing down, Mrs. Hedges? What do you mean?
Oh, no, Winifred, you put me in a very slight quandary. Because I was just promising Mrs. Cartland the moment before you arrived, to give the proposal some very serious consideration.
Oh, I see. Oh, naturally, if you're promising Mrs. Cartland. Adrian and I were discussing it only the other day, Arthur. You see, he's thinking of putting himself forward. Oddly enough, we did think that you were the perfect member if it hadn't been for your recent and very sad loss.
If it hadn't been for...
Well, don't you think that a politician should be married? After all, Sir Walter was. A wife can be so useful to a politician. Don't you think you might find it rather a disadvantage being without one?
I do, Winifred, and that is whether I stand for Parliament or not.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean it like that. Oh, do forgive me.
No, please, that's quite all right. It's quite understood.
It's just with you in the running, Adrian doesn't stand a chance. I mean, how could he against you? I mean, not a hope. And I do so want it for him so badly.
Look, I haven't agreed to stand yet. You know, it's purely a suggestion from Lord Sedgefield in the Central Office.
But you will, I'm sure. And another thing. You do realise, don't you, that even the very slightest breath of scandal will be most unfortunate. And that's all I have to say.
Well, I got another toast for you. God save this constituency from Adrian and Winifred Hedges.
I very nearly lost my temper, especially when she made that quite beastly allusion to Helen.
Oh, my dear, she didn't mean it. Just didn't think. Water off a duck's back.
I always heard she was a ghastly woman. Now I know she is. Mind you, I quite enjoyed the little cabaret. I can't wait to see the dreadful woman conduct the carols. Now, I'd better climb into my conspicuous car and go home.
All right, Rosie, if you really must. Oh, by the way, will Geoffrey be in residence?
Oh, no, it's not very likely. He's probably where he usually is, sitting by the fire at Miss Finch's cottage, planning their future. He'll be home for dinner, of course.
Oh, it's all such nonsense, isn't it? Hey, nobody marries Penelope Finch. She's a tart. And everyone knows it. Well, Anne used to meet her when she was out hunting. Quite liked her, but said, out for all the husbands, Daddy. Well, her exact words, not the sort you marry.
Yes, well, that in itself is a challenge. Geoffrey is something of a trailblazer, you know. Besides, he is honourable. I suppose he feels it's the least he can do for the girl, having once taken her up.
Yes, well, what about this poor girl?
Oh, I should be all right.
Rosie, you still love him, don't you?
Yes, I do. All right, I married him for his money. Because I was sorry for him. You know, Peter's mother died when she was very young. I liked him, I admired him, and besides, there was no one else in sight. Correction. My father had a very good-looking flag lieutenant called Arthur Bourne, but he was spoken for. But I told you all that last winter when we first came over.
Yes, indeed you did, dear Rosie.
When I married Geoffrey and got to know him better, I realised what a very sweet person he was. Very vulnerable. Yes, Arthur, I do still love my husband.
Oh, then surely you'll fight.
Oh, what is the use? When a man's heart, needs, desires are elsewhere. Besides, Geoffrey isn't deceitful. He came quite clean about the girl when he knew what was happening, and I was hearing rumours. If we do break up, I know that he'll look after me. In fact, the estate is already signed in my name. If I thought that girl really loved him, I wouldn't stand in his way.
Good heavens. Oh, do you mean to say that Layford is in your name?
Yes, all signed on over to me. And then to Peter after my death. Mind you, I don't think it's very clear to the girl that's happening. Otherwise, why is Geoffrey building new stables?
Oh, yes, I'm so sorry. Geoffrey sent those over a week ago. Wants my advice. A little odd.
Well, it was not of my doing. So I heard Geoffrey talking yesterday about putting money into the hunt. Now, she must have pushed him into that. I mean, she would, wouldn't she, being a master's niece?
Oh, my dear girl. I am beginning to see daylight, aren't you? But you hold the trump card. It's Layford that little harpy wants to marry, not Geoffrey. Oh, she's vain. She's ambitious, isn't she? She wants to be the lady of the manor. Huh? Like Ramsay MacDonald, she's a duchess is eating out of her hair. And she won't, you know. Because the people round here have begun to love the present lady of the manor far too much to accept Miss Penelope Finch.
Bonnie nearly had me off at that brook, you know. I think she must have shied at the sight of Lydia Waterhouse on that vast grey animal of hers, like something out of a circus.
You have a very sharp tongue, Penelope, and a heart of stone. I hope I never get on the wrong side of you.
There's no danger of that, my darling. I love you too much ever to be unkind about you.
I'm a very lucky man.
You're a very spoilt man. Shall I spoil you some more? Don't get me so excited. It's too frustrating.
Why should it be? It's a perfectly simple remedy.
It isn't simple, and you know it. You have to be home for dinner, and it's 7 o'clock now. We shouldn't make love with one eye on the clock. It makes our love cheap. No better than a quickie. I'm serious, darling. My love for you is very special.
I want to marry you, Penelope. But Rosie has to give me a divorce. The ball's in her court. I don't know what she intends. We haven't spoken to each other for 3 days. I want to go on being with you, but not here. We can go anywhere. I'm not pinned down to this part of the world, you know.
Oh, yes, you are, Geoffrey, as far as I'm concerned. No Layford, no marriage, and that's definite.
I'm sick and tired of the motorworks. I want to hand it over to my son, Peter. And then we can go and live in the sun in Spain or Italy, where it's warm and pleasant. We'll have each other.
I want Layford, Geoffrey. I want that house, and I want the position that goes with it. I want to stand at the top of that marble staircase and receive my guests at a great ball, knowing that they'd been in a muck sweat for weeks beforehand, wondering if they'd been invited. I can see the invitation cards now. Lord and Lady Cartland of Layford. Oh, you'll get a peerage, Geoffrey, don't doubt it.
What for?
For all you've done, of course. For the British motor car, for the Empire, for the hospitals.
The idea's never been mentioned.
You can get a title if you want to, Geoffrey. Don't be so childish. You know you can.
I have a title now.
What?
M.I. McE, member of the Institute for Mechanical Engineering. I worked very hard for it, and I'm very proud of it. Darling, I know it's been very difficult for you socially. I want you to put Layford Hall out of your mind for a couple of weeks. Go away, get a cab. Stop off at Paris en route, buy yourself some pretty clothes.
Are you trying to get rid of me?
No, it's simply that I think that while Rosemary is making up her mind, it is well if you weren't about the place. Perhaps if you were out of the country. There.
What's this?
Good Lord.
To go shopping in Paris with. I'll join you in Canada in a couple of days, or as soon as I can. Book into the Carlton Hotel. We'll spend Christmas there together. I'll make all the reservations by telephone from the office.
Geoffrey, you can't be serious. All this? Oh, darling, I love you so.
Just look at that clock, Fred. Your tea's stewed and I haven't even started to clean my vegetables for dinner. Wherever have you been? You said you were going to the garage. I came out to look for you. There was neither sight nor sound of you. Nor Miss Elizabeth's car, neither.
Well, I've been down to the village to get a new bulb for a headlamp.
Are you asking me to believe that took you all of 2 hours? Oh, Fred Case, whatever's come over you? Oh.
Champagne Charlie is my name. By pop, 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 I rose to fame.
Come here. You've been drinking, haven't you? I thought you had the minute you came through that door. Disgusting.
I'm the idol of the bar makes. Champagne Charlie is my name.
Oh, I never thought I'd live to see this day, Fred. You know you never could take much.
Well, today's different, isn't it? I've been doing an act of kindness. You'll never guess who I've been drinking with. It was the kids, and I'll tell you.
Oh, you're a daft thing, Fred. You get us our notice.
We're married, aren't we?
Yeah. It only makes it worse.
Oh, that's what you took me for, Eileen, wasn't it? For better or for worse. So, if it's for worse, well, still all right, isn't it?
No, yes. Oh, you're getting me all muddled up now, Fred.
So, Daisy, Daisy, give me your
Fred,
answer.
do be quiet. You'll have Nanny down here.
Oh, let her come. She might learn a thing or two, eh?
There you are, you daft thing. Now, go on. You tell me who you've been drinking with.
Mr. Edges. Mr. Adrian Edges.
Mr. Edges? Hey, well, I'm blowed. She was here this morning, Mrs. Edges was. She come to see the commander about the carols for Christmas. Her daughter and the girls and some of the other young ones, they're going all round the villages singing carols at Christmas for the cottage hospital.
I'm not talking about Mrs. Edges. I'm talking about Mr. Edges. He's my friend. He is now.
Oh, how did you come across him then?
Well, I was in Thornton's garage, like I told you, to get a bulb when he sees me. "Ah, Gates," he says. "Come on over to the Ballymoe at Westcombe and have a pint with me." "Oh, is it your birthday then, Mr. Edges?" I asked him. "Oh, Gates, better than that," he says. I've just put Mrs. Edges on the train to London. I am a free man, Gates. I'm liberated. Her aunt's been taken ill and she's got to go and look after her. But with a bit of luck, the old girl might be ill for a fortnight. Oh, though I shouldn't wonder if my wife's presence won't encourage her Aunt Isabel to hurry to meet her maker. "Oh, well, Mr. Edges," I said, I don't rightly know. My wife's expecting me." "Don't stand there arguing, Gates," he says, "wasting valuable drinking time. Get in the car." So, off we went to Westcombe, and there one pint led to another, and...
Oh, now do I've done it, Fred. I've got work to do.
My dad told me that in that part of Sussex where he came from, when a man was courting a lass, if she said, "I do have done," well, that meant he could carry on like. But if she said, "I've done do," well, that meant he'd got to stop.
Then do I've done, Fred Gates. But not now.
Hello? Oh, yes, Mrs. Cartland. You what? That we should meet? I don't see any good reason why we should. I don't think that any good can come of it.
I don't mind where. I'll come there, or you come here. Or we can meet in a hotel in Horbury sometime tomorrow. Or whenever you say.
I don't think we've got anything to say to each other, have we, Mrs. Cartland?
Shawnee, any talking now should be done through our respective solicitors.
As far as I'm concerned, it hasn't got as far as our solicitors. I would be very grateful if I could have some of your time tomorrow.
I'm afraid tomorrow's out of the question, Mrs. Cartland. I'm going down to London by the early train, and I'm leaving the country tomorrow afternoon. Yes, I'm going abroad. To the south of France. When will I be back? Well, I'm afraid you'll have to ask your husband about that. Yes, all I know is we're going to Cannes for Christmas. To the Carlton Hotel. Yes. What? Is he here with me now? Oh, Mrs. Cartland, what a question. Darling, are you going to be all night in that bathroom?
Oh, hello. Come in. I'm just going through some political bump. And it... Where is he? My God, what's happened?
I'm sorry to rush in, but I just had to tell you I've lost my battle.
Lost your bet?
The decision whether to divorce Geoffrey or not. It's been completely taken out of my hands. It's not important anymore.
Out of your hands?
When Geoffrey came home, presumably from being with her, he went straight upstairs, he packed a suitcase, he took the big car and left for London.
Left you?
Yes, I suppose that's how the law would see it. He had the grace to leave me a note on the hall table explaining that he was going to Cannes for Christmas.
This is with Miss Finch.
Of course. She informed me of that herself. After which he'll see his financial advisors, his accountants, and so on, and give up his interest in Carlton Motors to Peter, or his nominee. He is giving it all up, Arthur. Everything his father left in trust for him. Everything he's worked for. Built up all his working life. For a woman. How could he?
laying emphasis on the role the church is playing in the conflict.
May I turn it off?
This,
Yes,
he said,
do.
is non-political.
This really is a sorry business, isn't it? At this very moment, millions of people are listening to that endless chatter, and they should be getting on with the process of living.
But, Arthur, dear, it really is rather interesting. I mean,
What will they do about the royal enclosure at Ascot if he does marry Mrs. Simpson? A divorced woman will never be allowed in. Will he go without her? Or perhaps they'll make a special enclosure just for her.
I believe that's known as protective custody. Alice, dear, may I suggest you concentrate on your needlework? You do it so nicely.
So it's really disgusting. Either way, all these intimate details are being brought out in the gossip columns. Does it really matter where she buys her clothes?
How like a man. Of course it does, Arthur. It's very important.
Alice, dear, you're losing your wool. Well, I dare say that the papers and the wireless are making too much of it. But, you know, this sort of constitutional crisis is not altogether an unhealthy thing. It does give the people a chance to assess and to argue about standards and values.
No, Charles, there's nothing to argue about. It's a clear-cut issue. The king must give her up. Hey, Mrs. Simpson, another man's wife, and the king himself, remember, defender of the faith.
Arthur, don't you remember any of the history I taught you at Eton? That extra responsibility was foisted on the monarchy by a monarch who also condoned divorce. Henry VIII, no less.
Oh, well, you've got me there, Charles.
Well, I don't see what all the fuss is about. Of course, he should have been more discreet. But his grandfather managed those sort of things pretty well.
Mother, really? Thank goodness the girls aren't here to hear you talking like that. Besides, we were never expected to accept one of those ladies as our queen.
Yeah, that's a very good debating point. You know, Arthur, I'm beginning to think that you really are cut out to make a successful career in the House of Commons.
Oh, not that again, Charles. I'm never going to live this down.
Arthur, dear, I do hope you haven't refused to stand.
Yes, Mother, I have. Well, it seemed only fair, you know. Give them time to find another candidate. However, they refused to take no for an answer, so, well, I said I'd give it more thought.
Do, Arthur. Think how the girls and I would enjoy having tea with you on the terrace in the summer.
Well, I suppose, Mother, tea might be managed someday without having to win a by-election to do it. That'll be Phil and the girl.
Oh, thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. Here we are.
Hello, Vicky, dear.
Laura's just stepped into a puddle. That's why she looks so blue.
Oh, dear. Hello, Laura. Delighted to see you again. Do you know we've missed you? How's you going, Mother?
All right, thank you, Commander Paul.
Good. Well, you must take those wet shoes off in a minute. Now, do go over to the fire.
Oh, dear.
Well,
hello, Liz.
Hello, Vic.
Hello, Grandpa.
Hello, my dear. Well, Laura, how nice. Now, what's all this you've been doing with your money? What? Oh, of course I am. Yes, there you are. Oh, it's Liz. Oh,
now,
dear.
Miss Laura's case was up to Miss Anne's room, as usual. I hope Mrs. Gates has remembered the hot water bottle. Now, that bed needs a thorough airing. Oh, I mentioned it to her this morning. It'll be all right.
Yes, Nanny. Now, if you'll allow me to pass...
Oh, yes. And Miss Vicky's case up to my schoolroom, so I can look out her things. There'll be some stitches needed, I dare say.
My shoes. Take them off.
Oh, your stocking feet. You'll catch your death. Where are your slippers? In your case?
Yes, upstairs.
Oh, come on, put them on.
Oh, what a joy it is to have them all home again.
Absolutely. Well, Phyllis, how was the train?
Perfectly foul, but worth it. The girls must be exhausted. I know I am.
Well, sit down. Tell us all the news from London, my dear.
There isn't any, really. Except the King and Mrs. Simpson. No one speaks of anything else.
No, I meant your own news. How's Jack?
Oh, busy with his air charter project as usual. He refuses to give up.
Good for him.
Phyllis, I want your advice. Whether I'm to do this rose with the dark or paler.
How is my eldest daughter?
Cold, but getting warmer already. And the girls are frozen too. Oh dear, poor Laura. You know, for a girl who's so desperately anxious to please, she's the most scatterbrained creature I know. We nearly had to miss the train because she thought she'd lost a suitcase and it was in the carriage on the rack all the time.
Well, I, for one, I'm very glad she's found a suitable young friend. I like Laura, scatterbrained or not. I wonder if she'd like to stay for Christmas.
Oh, yes, Daddy, we must ask her.
Nanny made Laura rub her feet with eau de cologne against catching cold. She smells like a hairdresser's shop.
Oh, Vicky, don't.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Liz, come and give me your advice. Shall I do this with that or that?
Oh, that one, Mother, the dusty pig.
Well, yes, Granny, it's lovely. A bed of roses.
Oh, Grandpa, you're teasing me.
Well, Laura, I hope you won't find life too dull here after London. Not much excitement for a young girl, I'm afraid.
Oh, I love coming here.
You always seem to have such fun together. It's marvellous.
Oh, it's family life. More the merrier.
I think family life is wonderful.
Well, then I hope you'll feel at home here. One of our family.
Yes, I will. Commander Bourne, is it true you've been asked to stand for Parliament?
Yes, I have.
Will you accept?
Well, it's not finally decided yet, but well, I think it's very unlikely.
Oh, dear, I do hope you will. It'd be marvellous. I'm terribly interested in politics.
Oh, are you, by Jove?
Yes, you see, I was a candidate in the last election.
You? What?
Well, what election was this, Laura?
At our school. It was just like the real thing, to learn how elections work. Well, I mean, we had to canvass and make speeches and vote and everything. Even the juniors joined in. I didn't win, though.
Oh, I am sorry to hear that.
Conservative did, of course. She was head girl. I was only a Liberal.
Oh, bad luck. How did the Labour candidate fare?
Oh, we weren't allowed to have a Labour candidate. The headmistress forbade it.
What? Oh, I see. Democracy at work in our schools.
Oh, Daddy, tomorrow night, when the King makes his speech on the wireless, may we listen in with you if it's late?
Yes, Vicky, you may. In fact, you should. All of you.
Oh, goody. Can I play God Save the King on the piano?
I dare say the BBC will provide all the necessary music.
Well, the girls asked me to buy a new record. They were dancing to it in the flat last night. Shall I put it on?
Oh, yes, rather, Phyllis. Splendid, splendid. No, I would like that. I'd like it.
Yes.
Jolly good.
Not too modern, I hope, Phil.
Oh.
Bring on the dancing girls. Come on, then.
Well, didn't do that in my day.
Daddy, you dance with me. I'll show you the steps. It's great fun.
Oh, darling, I'm afraid not. My dancing days are over.
Yes.
Would you care to dance with me?
No, thank you, my dear Vicky. I subscribe to Lord Curzon's definition of modern dancing. He said it was like going for a country walk while constantly impeded by a member of the opposite sex.
Oh, come on, Arthur. Come on.
Oh, for heaven's sakes.
Oh, I say, there's a bit period stuff working in there. Oh, yes.
I'm sorry. I would. Starboard, Phil. Starboard.
Reverse engines, Arthur. Full of style.
Oh, I like that. Oh, that's the latest. Yeah. I like that.
Well, if Vicky and Laura want to have a bath before dinner, I'm sure they need it after that dirty train, they better come up now before everybody else wants the hot water. I've got towels warming in front of the schoolroom fire. Come along, girls.
Oh, gosh, honestly, we're not babies, Nanny.
Well, but do we have to?
Yes, you do. Come along.
Come on, Laura. Bathies.
Off you go, then. Be good little girls and make yourselves decent.
That's enough from you. Come on, Laura. If you're very good, I'll let you play with my rubber duck. Oh, thanks. Don't sit there, Freddie. You're right in my way and you'll get covered with flour.
Oh, Eileen, I thought I would remind you about breakfast in the morning. I would like Vicky to have some prunes. I don't like her colour at all. Liverish, I would say.
Yeah, you've already asked me, Nanny. And they're all stewed and ready. I know my job, thank you.
Well, somebody's got to keep an eye on that poor motherless bairn, and that's what I'm here for.
Hello, Charles.
All on your own.
Oh, good evening, my dear.
I'm early. Sorry to disturb you. I gather the others are still dressing for dinner.
Yes, indeed, yes. Have we the pleasure, then, of...
Oh, yes, I am dining. Arthur rang at the last moment to ask me to dine and to listen in to the King.
Oh, good. Yes, it's a rather sad day for the old country, isn't it? Geoffrey not with you?
Oh, Geoffrey, no.
Oh, too bad. Is he away?
Oh, dear, you obviously haven't heard.
Haven't heard what?
Arthur hasn't mentioned it to you.
Hmm.
Oh, my dear husband is away for a time in the south of France.
Oh, I see. Selling his motor cars to the French, what?
Well, no, not exactly.
Oh.
It's not on business, I'm afraid. I wish it were.
Surely you must have seen that one of me before, about to brain my dear brother with a spade on the beach at Bognor.
No, I'm quite sure that I never have. What a vicious expression on that sweet little freckled face.
It just broken my toy yacht. Do you remember, Arthur, the Bognor days?
Yes, that album should have been burnt years ago. Don't know why we keep it.
Because it's mine. I lent it to Helen, and I expect it to be very carefully taken care of.
Yes, to prove to posterity what dreadful children you had.
Yes.
Are you coming down soon? Oh, gosh, fast asleep. Poor Nanny. She's so tired. I'm so old.
Who's old?
Wondered if you were cold, as your fire's almost out.
We just wanted to make sure you hadn't forgotten about the broadcast. Oh, it's only 9:30.
Oh, I'm all right. I'm quite well aware of that. I'll be down plenty of time.
We'll come back if you like, when it's time, shall we?
Yes, yes.
Come on, Vic. Daddy, the carol practice. We forgot Mrs. Hedges.
I've been trying to do that for years.
They're here in the hall now.
They're what?
Who's here?
Carol singers, Alice.
But it isn't Christmas yet.
No, I know, dear. They're practicing.
Sakes, we've forgotten, you know. That's what we've damn well done. We've forgotten. Liz, go out and tell them we'll be there in a moment.
Not on your life.
All right, it's my fault. Ladies and gentlemen, there has been a slight slip-up. Please amuse yourselves.
Don't worry about us. We'll just go through the album.
Jose.
Oh, and peppermint. I like peppermint myself. It makes your breath smell nice.
Oh, where's my baton? I thought I put it in my bag. Oh, dear, I wish I didn't have to do everything myself.
Oh, my Lord. Look, you girls, I'm afraid there is nothing I can do about this. You will just have to simply go out and have your carol practice.
Thanks. Well, tonight of all nights, we'll miss the king.
No, my dear, you won't. I promise you. Now, you simply have to practice for half an hour as it's been arranged.
Yes, and who arranged it?
Now, I am calling for volunteers. You, and you.
I found it. Now then, ladies, now then. Now, are you ready? We'll start with, Oh, Come All Ye Faithful. Now, line up. Here we are. Over there, dear. That's right. No, there. Oh, stand up, can do. Now.
Oh,
come all ye faithful, joyful and triumphant. Oh, come ye to Bethlehem.
Oh, that's fine. Good evening.
Come and be.
Good evening. Good evening, ladies.
Good evening.
Good evening, Winifred. I'm so sorry I wasn't here to greet you in person, but we have guests.
I know. I saw the car. You did invite us, you know, Arthur. You really did. It's in my diary. And you three, you're supposed to be playing here with us. It was arranged, wasn't it?
Yes, indeed it was, Winifred, and I do apologise to you all. But, you know, to be honest with you, when I read the announcement that the King was to broadcast to the nation this evening, well, then I naturally imagined that everybody would want to stay at home. I mean, couldn't we put the carol practice off for the moment? I mean, say until tomorrow?
Well, that suits me. I want my supper. No, certainly not. Arthur, really, we've all sacrificed our time. This is most inconsiderate. Yes, it is. I've lost my 3 best singers.
And I mean the broadcast. It's history in the making, and it's happening in 25 minutes' time.
We can all have our own views about that, Arthur. It's not sufficient that the King has handed the whole country over to the Bolsheviks. No, he's changed everybody's plans from Mr. Baldwin to the Winchley Choral Society.
Well, in the face of that, I have nothing to say. Liz, Vicky, Laura, I'm afraid you will have to practice with Mrs. Hedges as arranged, but don't forget the speech is at 10 o'clock, and at that time I shall expect everybody to stop singing and listen with respect to the sovereign.
Very well. Now, come along. Get hold of your parts and line up round the piano.
wretched woman. I'd quite forgotten. So had the girl.
Oh, darlings, how long do they have to go on practicing?
22 minutes, Phil, and then finish.
Listen, that's Mrs. Hedges herself. She's at least half a tone flat.
I know she's a terrible ball and a snob, but she does organise things well.
Yes, like selling my best new Panama hat to the village postman that faked last summer.
Oh, she didn't.
Yes, she did.
I love this one.
Right, that's it. 2 minutes to go. Phil, if you'd like to take Mother, the van. Charles, you go with Rosie. I think I'll bring up the rear.
Well, my dear.
Silently, how silently, the blessed gift was given. So God imparts to human hearts the blessings of His hand. Now we'll hear His coming, but in this world
That is enough. Thank you.
Well, you might have let us finish at least the verse.
Winifred, the king will not wait for us. Now, if you would like to seat your choir.
Well, come along, ladies. Find seats anywhere you can. And do, please, pay attention.
Now, if you'd like to all make yourselves comfortable.
This is Windsor Castle, His Royal Highness Prince Edward.
At long last, I am able to say a few words of my own. I have never wanted to withhold anything, but until now, it has not been constitutionally possible for me to speak. A few hours ago, I discharged my last duty as King and Emperor. And now that I have been succeeded by my brother, the Duke of York, my first words must be to declare my allegiance to him. This I do with all my heart. You all know the reasons which have been. I want you to understand that in making up my mind, I did not forget the country or the empire, which, as Prince of Wales and lately as King, I have for 25 years tried to serve. But you must believe me when I tell you that I have found it impossible to carry the heavy burden of responsibility and to discharge my duties as king as I would wish to do without the help and support of the woman I love. And I want you to know that the decision I have made has been mine and mine alone. And now we all have a new king. I wish him and you, his people, happiness and prosperity with all my heart. God bless.
Oh. That's that. Arthur, do you think I could have a glass of your whiskey?
Yes, yes, of course.
I think I should give up whiskey for a New Year resolution. They tell me it's going to be 17 shillings a bottle.
Excuse me. Hello? Yes? What? Transferred on from Layford? Yes. Would you hold on? Rosie, Continental call for you? Would you like to take it in the study?
Allô? Ah oui? Où c'est Madame Carlin qui parle? Bon. Geoffrey? What a surprise. Are you all right? Yes. Yes, perfectly. Yes, I'm here with Arthur and the rest of them. Yes, we did. You're not joking, Geoffrey, are you? I see. You arrive in London tomorrow. All right. Yes. I shall be here. Geoffrey, it's so typical. He said if the king is going into exile, he will have to come back to England. Or the old country will go to the dogs. Oh, Arthur. Arthur.
Hello? Yes, it is. Oh, Miss Moment, please. It's Miss Elizabeth. Would you like to take it in the study, sir?
No. I'll take it here. Thank you. Hello, Liz. Anything, Oh, no, dear. Well, the matron did. Well, they might have let you know a bit sooner. Yeah. Yes, duty is duty. Well, darling, what about Vicky? Oh, Peter is. Yes, but wouldn't he rather stay with you in London? No point. Darling, we just had to manage without you. Yeah, Vicky will help Mrs. Gates. Now, I was hoping that you'd help me out with Laura's grandmother. Yes, Charles will have to sit next to her at every meal. I hope he charms her. Oh, what's that? Oh, you got to rush? Oh, no, darling, it's really very sad. Hey, if you get a chance, do give us a ring on Christmas Day. All right, darling. Yeah. Goodbye.
Yes?
Well, rotten bad news, I'm afraid.
Oh, dear, what's happened?
Liz, she won't be with us over Christmas.
Oh, my goodness, is she ill?
Oh, no, dear. No, it's that wretched hospital. Apparently they have to have one student on duty in each ward over Christmas. The girl who volunteer's gone down with a suspected appendix. Liz is next on the list, so she's got to stay. I suppose they can't help it.
Oh, no.
I imagine.
Oh, cruel.
Spending Christmas in a dull, drafty, depressing hospital. I suppose she'll cheer up the patients, but, really.
But she won't get up here at all.
No, not at all. Aye, Vicky's coming up here as arranged with Peter. There's no point in him staying in London because he won't see anything of her. Well, there it is. I suppose we shall just have to make the best of it without her.
Oh, my. It's a shame.
And Mother, Charles, they'd be very disappointed.
Well, that goes for all of us.
There we are. Ah, come along then, Helen. Arthur! Arthur!
Anybody home?
Hey, it's very quiet.
It's been like that, sir, the past 2 weeks.
Of course. The girl's away in London. Oh, thank you, Gates, very much.
There you all are then. Charles.
Hello, Arthur. Hello.
Well, come along.
Yes. There you are, Alice.
Thank you.
Now, sit down there.
Fine. Thank you.
I say, what a rotten shame about Liz. Gates told us.
That's what comes of working in a hospital. They're quite inhuman, you know.
Oh, no, Alice, no, that isn't quite fair. After all, I mean, it's for the sake of the patients. The patients come first. Oh, well. Oh, pig of a journey. Something went wrong with the heating in the train. Our feet froze.
I'm quite blue.
Hey, soon warm up, Mother. Some of those logs are a bit green, I'm afraid. Only chopped them yesterday.
Why don't you have central heating put in, Arthur?
Why don't cows jump over the moon?
But, Arthur, it'd be an investment, you know. I hear a lot of the country houses are having it installed.
Well, it's all right, Charles, if you happen to be a motor car manufacturer like Geoffrey Cartland. Spartan existence, you know. Plenty of fresh air. Does the world a good.
Ah, well, in that case, you mustn't mind if we huddle round the fire and keep it off you.
In true English style, with red faces and frozen backs.
Oh.
Well, that's the spirit that made the empire, you know. Enabled us to survive any climate from Eskimo land to Singapore.
Do you know, most foreigners sleep with their windows shut, and double windows at that. You'd think they'd all die in their sleep. But no, there they are again every morning, hanging their bedding out of the windows. Do you know, it always reminds me of great tongues hanging out, gasping for air.
Please, Charles.
Well, would you like a glass of sherry?
Not for me, thank you, Arthur. I mustn't start Christmas with a liver.
Oh, come on, Alice. You must get in the right spirit. Yes, please, Arthur.
When I think of the mountains of food we've got to get through, turkey, plum pudding, mince pies, brandy butter.
Yeah.
As one gets...
You mustn't treat Christmas as a penance. That's Lent, Alice.
Lent will be a treat.
Well, I intend to indulge myself this Christmas, as usual. And what's more, I shall eat and drink to excess.
Well, don't set the girls a bad example. Are we the first to arrive?
Yes, indeed you are, Mother. Vicky's coming up this evening with Peter Cartland in his car.
Oh, that'll be nice.
Well, Liz suggested it, you know. She won't see anything of him.
No. Oh, that's a nice tree, Arthur.
Homegrown on the plantation?
Of course.
It's a pity Phyllis won't be here either. I can't think what made her want to spend Christmas in Paris.
Well, it's her life, Mother.
Yes, but I still think it's very selfish of her.
Well, I said she'd be very welcome to come up here and bring this fellow Poole with her, but seemed very keen on this trip to Paris in the aeroplane. So, anyhow, we'd be quite a crowd here, you know. Laura, Peter, and of course Laura's grandmother, you know.
Oh, is little Laura's granny coming?
Yes, I know about her.
Dame Violet Lumsden, DBE.
That name rings a bell. Violet Lumsden.
Oh, well, do you know?
No. I might have met her long ago.
Vicky hardly sees anything of her. And when she visits Laura in Connaught Square, she stays up in her room, apparently, not to be disturbed.
Nothing. Nothing. Come in.
Can I take your tea tray, Nanny? I'm just going down.
Yes, dear, you can take it down. Thank you.
You know, only hope Dame Violet finds Miss Phyllis's room to her satisfaction.
Well, why shouldn't she?
Well, I've heard she's the complaining sort, you know, a bit of a dragon.
Oh, no, that's just me, Vicky, exaggerating as usual.
I suppose you're right. Anyway, I've made up the bed for Miss Laura in Miss Anne's room.
Uh-huh. And where's Master Peter going to sleep?
In the spare dressing room. Oh, Nanny, won't it be lovely to have the house full again for Christmas?
Yes.
Well, apart from Miss Phyllis and Miss Liz, that is.
Listen, is that not a car?
Oh, sounds like it. I don't know. Oh, yes, it's Mr. Peter and Miss Vicky. Oh, they're here. Well, I'll be getting down, Nanny.
Yes, dear.
Yoo-hoo! Daddy! Anyone at home?
Oh, there's my girl.
Hello.
I'm so sorry. I was just finishing off last month's account, so immersed in making both ends meet, I just didn't hear the car. But how was the journey?
Oh, marvellous. Peter drove his Bugatti like Sir Malcolm Campbell at Daytona Beach.
Ah, did he?
Oh, it was quite safe. He says the fastest drivers are usually the safest, like the French, unlike the slow coach English, who cause the most accidents, dithering about and not being able to make up their minds.
No, poor old English. Wonder how they ever became masters of half the globe.
I say, Daddy, isn't it rotten about Liz?
Yes, that's the luck of the draw, isn't it?
I saw her last night. She's
Oh, I
got
say,
so
wait
much
a
to
minute.
tell you.
Where's Peter? Isn't he meant to be staying here?
Well, he just slipped out to Layford to get some rather special bottles of sherry he wants us to try over Christmas. He'll be back later.
Well, it's very kind of him to offer us some sherry, but we got plenty in the cellar.
Well, I think he wants to show off his knowledge while his father's abroad by raiding the Layford cellar. Well, he is quite an expert. Well, did you know, Daddy, that an Amontillado sherry is only a sherry pretending to be a Montilla? And if you find a very good shipper, a Montilla is not only better, but cheaper.
Well, as a matter of fact, I did, yes, but as I prefer Tio Pepe, you know, and the old folks prefer Olorosa, I say, what are we talking about sherry for?
Oh, well, you interrupted me. Oh, Daddy, you know...
You seem to know an awful lot about your sister's private life. How do you know all this?
Well, because Peter and I had a heart-to-heart coming up in the car, and he told me how much he loves Liz. Well, he does spend rather a lot of money on her. Well, Liz says it would be all the same if he took her to the Lion's Corner house, because they're in love. And they want to be engaged.
Engaged?
Well, I think they both realise now isn't the moment to make an announcement. Well, so soon after Mummy's death and everything. But they do want your blessing.
Oh, does Peter?
Well, they both want your blessing. Oh, Daddy, you look so glum.
No, dear. No, I was just trying to imagine Peter married to a professional woman, a doctor.
Well, I'm not sure Liz wants to go on with her training if she marries. You see, Peter's going to ask his father for a job at Cartland Motors.
Is he, by Jove?
Yes, he wants to start at the bottom in the workshops like his father did.
Well, his father started in the ledger department, but still.
Well, you know what I mean. He was explaining to me in the car. He wants to learn all about car manufacture, inside out, every little nut and bolt. He wants to be able to take a car apart.
He's a sort of stockbroker with oily hands, is he?
Well, I think he hopes to give up his job in the city and find work near Wolverhampton so that they can live somewhere near here.
I see.
Well, he was saying that his father might give them the mill house over on the Layford estate as a wedding present. They could do it up and live in it.
Really?
And be close to you in case you get lonely.
Vic, did Peter say that?
No, Liz said that about you being lonely when I saw her last night.
Well, that's very interesting, isn't it?
Well, take your luggage up, Dame Violet.
Very well, but be most careful with it. I don't want all my Christmas gifts shattered.
I'll be careful, Dame Violet.
Laura, see if you can find the butler to announce us.
Oh, I don't think there is a butler, Grandmamma.
Oh? Where's the rest of the family, child?
Hello, Laura. Hello. Here's Vicky, Grandmamma. Good evening, Dame Violet.
Good evening, Victoria.
Oh, may I introduce our friend and neighbour, Mr. Cartland?
How do you do?
How do you do? I gather from Laura that your father manufactures motor cars.
That's right, Cartland Motors.
An interesting and profitable occupation, I expect.
Oh, yes.
Well, Victoria, have you had a domestic crisis?
Oh, no, not yet. It's all hands to the pump at Christmas, I'm afraid, particularly with a house full of guests.
A house full, you say? How delicious. You have a house party?
Well, no, not exactly. There's just my grandparents and Peter and Laura and yourself.
I thought I heard voices. Hello, Peter. Ah, and there's our little Laura. Welcome, my dear.
Hello.
How are you?
My grandmother.
Dame Violet, what a pleasure. We've all looked forward so much to meeting you.
Oh, so sorry. This is my grandfather, Mr. Ashley.
Ashley? Might you by any chance be related to Sir Hubert Ashley in the Foreign Office? I suspect you are a diplomat.
No.
Am I right?
No, I'm a schoolmaster.
How disappointing. I've known many diplomats in my life, you know, travelling around with the world into our various embassies.
Grandpa teaches at Eton.
Ah.
He was a housemaster there, but he's given up now.
Now, that's what I call schoolmastering with a difference. I had cousins at Eton, you know, all quite brilliant. And, of course, my nephew, whom you must know.
Oh, yes, indeed. A very clever boy.
Father.
Oh, Dame Violet, how do you do? I'm so glad you could come.
How kind of you to ask me, Commander Bourne. I don't usually drag myself away from my busy life in London during the winter. But Christmas is a country occasion, don't you think? And, of course, a family occasion. I wouldn't have wanted Laura to spend it quite alone among strangers.
Well, I do hope Laura doesn't think of us as strangers. You know, we very much regard her as a member of the family. Don't we, Vicky?
Oh, yes, absolutely. One of the family.
Well, of course she isn't. She's a Lumsden. But I do take your meaning. Have you been retired long, Mr. Ashley? You don't look old enough to retire. Perhaps you retired early to see the world.
I'm well over retiring age, Dame Violet.
You have a youthful eye, my dear. It is the eye that counts. Show me a dull eye and you show me a misspent life. But a sparkling eye and a sprightly foot on the dance floor.
well, really? Yeah, of course.
Won't you introduce us?
I'm so sorry. It's, Dame Violet, may I introduce my mother, Lady Bourne?
How do you do?
Haven't we met before?
I don't think so. I never forget a face.
Neither do I. No doubt it will come back to me.
I do hope so.
Well, Alice, come and sit down.
Thank you.
Would you like to go up and see your room now, Dame Violet?
Yes, I would. What time are we dining?
Well, in 10 minutes, actually.
But I shan't have time to dress for dinner in 10 minutes. And your maid can hardly unpack my luggage.
Oh, well, please don't bother to change, Dame Violet. I shan't. And I'm afraid we don't have any maids. Mrs. Gates will unpack for you later on. Vicky?
I'll show you up then.
It's all right, Vicky. I know the way.
Aunt Phyllis's room.
Okay.
Come along, Laura. We must do our charming little house. Is it not, Laura?
Yes, Grandmamma.
A very intriguing woman. And what are you laughing at, you naughty girl?
I was thinking of your sprightly foot, Grandpa. Oh, well, I must get back to my dressing in the kitchen.
Dressing in the kitchen?
My French dressing, Granny, for the salad.
Vicky is the only maid we have, Mother.
Oh, not quite, sir. Reserve Pilot Officer Cardland reporting for mess duty. What? Anything I can do for you?
Oh, I expect you can stir the dressing. Come on, then.
I shall leave off the salad if I were you.
Glass of sherry, anyone?
Please, Arthur.
You still nursing your liver, Mother?
No. That was lunchtime. It's evening now. I wondered when you were going to ask me.
I'm so sorry. Would you like a glass of sherry?
And Cutland and Liz are seeing a lot of each other in London?
Well, it would seem so.
Do you mean they're serious about each other?
Well, apparently, they want to get engaged, Mother. According to Vicky.
Yeah? Well, he's a very good-looking boy.
And well off. But what about her medical career?
Yeah, yes, indeed.
But she's not thinking of giving it up again.
Well, she may.
Well, they can't announce their engagement yet. It's far too soon.
No, Mother, no, she knows that. Oh, I suppose we shall just have to wait and see what time will bring. Daughters.
You're beginning to sound like King Lear.
They're such bundles of emotion, boys. They're so much easier.
Oh, don't you believe it?
No, don't you believe it. You were a cartload of trouble compared with Phyllis. Although I must say you turned out to be the steadier.
Oh, by the way, now I wonder whether we've done the right thing inviting Dame Violet. Well, she's a bit strange.
Well, from the little I've seen of her so far, I should say she was rather tiresome. But still, you couldn't invite Laura without her, could you?
No. Well, if you ask me, I think she's going to liven this place up this Christmas, and no mistake.
You need more light on the stairs, Commander Bourne. They are dark and somewhat treacherous.
Oh, pray, Dame Violet, allow me to give you a hand in case you should fall and break your neck.
Thank you so much. How very gallant of you, Mr. Ashley.
I'll get some stronger lights put in.
Yes, I'll try and persuade my son-in-law to floodlight the staircase. It would be rather safer.
You have a witty father-in-law, Commander Bourne. Such fun for you all.
You do me too much honour.
Wouldn't you have some sherry?
Are there not cocktails?
No, in this house we prefer not to fill ourselves with gin and martini before dinner. It tends to spoil our appetite.
Then I'll have a tiny glass of witty, friend.
No.
Is your room all right?
Oh, it's absolutely sweet. And really very cosy. Such a change from the vast and draughty guest rooms one has been accustomed to in some of the larger country houses in which one has stayed.
Do tell us, Dame Violet, about the larger country houses in which you stayed.
I beg your pardon?
Lady Bourne is very interested in architecture.
Oh, no, I'm not particularly. But I love to hear about the great houses I've never seen.
Do tell my mother where you go to visit.
Well, Melford Park, Havisham Hall, Wentfield, Somerby Castle.
Oh, I thought Somerby Castle was pulled down before the war.
It was. I stayed there many years ago. Charles. Now, Charles, that is a games table. Do you play bezique?
It's one of my favourite.
I knew it the moment I set eyes on you. We are soulmates.
Oh.
Come along. You and I shall have a game.
I don't think there's quite time before dinner.
Then we shall finish it afterwards. And don't you dare cheat, you naughty man. I shall be watching you.
Oh, I never cheat. Do I, Alice?
Oh, I don't know what you expect me to say to that.
I like a man to try to cheat. It stimulates me to see that he doesn't succeed.
You really are quite impossible, Dame Violet. Really quite impossible.
Dinner is ready, everyone?
All hands to dinner, sir.
Oh, well, I think we'll have to postpone the game. Dinner appears to be ready.
It has not yet been announced.
Well, I've just announced it.
My son doesn't have a butler, Dame Violet. And if you're to enjoy your stay here, I feel you will have to excuse the very simple way in which we live. Much simpler, I expect, than what you're accustomed to. Would you care to come with me to the dining room?
I was rather hoping that my gallant friend Mr. Ashley might do me that honour.
With pleasure.
Did you ever see
mothballs?
Been put away quite a time, I expect.
Surprising in a lady of fashion of London society.
Not quite the latest fashions, are they?
Oh,
Still, yes, they've been taken good care of. Nice. Oh, you can see she's been well looked after. I say, Nanny, look at this.
What's that?
What a funny thing to pack for a weekend visit.
Oh, a photograph. Of herself, maybe. Taken at the front.
Yeah, I wonder why she packed it. Do you suppose she takes it everywhere with her?
Oh, I think it's just probably got put in by mistake. Well, put it on the dressing table and make her feel at home.
Oh, I think she feels that all right. She ate a huge dinner, and now she's playing bezique with Mr. Ashley.
Oh, dear, but Mr. Ashley always plays with Lady Borden.
I know, Nanny. That's what worries me.
Yes, indeed.
Good morning, everybody.
Oh, good morning, Dame Violet.
I'm ready for church myself. So shall we all try to squeeze into the motor car, or are we to walk there?
The young ones always walk.
I'm perfectly capable of walking. Just don't happen to care for it very much. Laura, darling, did you put my presents in a good position round the tree?
Of course, Grandmama.
I can't see them.
They're all there.
I particularly want Mr. Ashley's gift well to the fore. And Commander Bourne's is very fragile. It must stand on its own.
I know, Grandmama. Don't worry.
I chose the paper with particular care. It should stand out amongst all those other parcels. Charles, you will sit next to me in church, won't you, and prompt me. I always kneel and stand up in the wrong places.
My dear Dame Violet, it'll be my pleasure to guide you through the thickets of liturgical convention.
If you're really not familiar with the ordinary morning service, I can lend you my prayer book to follow the words.
No, thank you, Lady Bourne. I shall simply peer at Mr. Ashley's.
I'm so sorry. Are we all ready?
Oh, my dear, what beautiful flowers.
The greenhouse has done well, Arthur.
Yes, we've been putting in a bit of work there.
Those will most certainly cheer the place up.
Well, they're not for the house, Dame Violet.
Oh?
Well, they're for my mother's and Sister Anne's graves.
Oh. Yes, of course, how foolish of me. You must give me some to carry.
Oh, no. Dame Violet, if you don't mind, I think Vicky and I would rather be on our own there.
As you wish, of course.
Well, we'll see if the car is ready.
I should have brought my own tributes, had I known.
It's very thoughtful of you, Dame Violet.
It was unkind of you, Laura, not to remind me, and very careless.
I hope I haven't kept everybody waiting.
No, no.
I say, Laura, is everything all right?
Yes, it's nothing.
You're crying, aren't you?
No, I've just got a little bit of dust in my eye.
Here. Is there anything I can do?
No.
I'm an awfully sympathetic type, you know. Has anybody been unkind to you?
No.
There, come on, back up. Don't want other people to see you.
Are you ready for church, Peter?
Absolutely.
Well, come on then. Daddy's waiting to walk down.
Shall we walk, Miss Collins?
Thank you, Mr. Cartland. That will be very pleasant.
Bye-bye. See you later.
Oh, goodbye,
Bye,
dears.
I still think we should have gone together in the motor car.
It's not big enough.
Then your son should have hired another.
On Christmas Day, all the local garage people will be in church.
Nothing's impossible with a little foresight and organisation, Lady Bourne. A Red Cross unit, a school, a home, all depend on organisation. I have no doubt that is what your daughter provided.
Yes, indeed. I think Helen knew.
No.
I'm sure we all feel his loss. All of us. At Christmas time especially.
The car's ready, my lady.
Thank you, Gates.
Good. Our transport has arrived. Now, Charles, you give Lady Bourne your arm. I can manage on my own.
I don't know whether I'm on my head or my heels, Nanny. Really, I don't. Get me that. Fetch me this. No sooner has she come down in the morning than she forgets something she's left in her room. No sooner do I go up for it than she's forgotten all about it and she doesn't want it. Oh, dear. Nothing's been right for her this morning. Nothing. Morning tea too cold.
Oh.
And she'd have preferred china with lemon. So I go down and I make her a special pot. When I take it up, oh no, it's too late now, and will I help her dress? Well, as you know, Nanny, I were never a lady's maid. No. I'm all fingers and thumbs anyway. Oh, it's a mercy they've gone off to church, it is, for I don't know how I'm going to get through this day, Nanny, I really don't.
There, now, it'll be all better a little later on, when they've got a good Christmas spirit inside them.
Well, the Lord knows she's got enough spirit inside her for 20. Oh, well, better get on, I suppose. I'll leave you to your wireless.
Better for me than that drafty church nowadays. Though I miss sitting with the family.
Well, now, when are we to have the Christmas tree? Before or after luncheon?
Well, I expect when Arthur and Vicky get back from church.
Oh, I thought they were back.
Not yet.
I do hope, Dame Violet, that you're not expecting Christmas presents on a very lavish scale. Times are hard for the small landowner, you know.
My dear Lady Bourne, the delight for me is in seeing other people open the presents I have brought them. I am not concerned with gifts for myself.
The true Christmas spirit, Dame Violet.
So long as I have pleasing company, I have everything I need to make my Christmas a happy one. Ah, Nanny, I wonder if you'd mind just running upstairs and fetching my spectacles from my bedside table.
But Laura's gone to fetch them for you, Dame Violet.
The dear child shouldn't have. But then she is so unselfish and thoughtful. I am very lucky to have...
Was it a nice service, Lady Bourne? Passable, Nanny. Old Chadwick, the butcher, sang far too loudly, as usual. And I thought the choir was sadly out of practice.
I thought it was divinely pastoral, didn't you, Charles? A little village church crammed with yokels. So different from St. George's, Hanover Square.
Well, I must say I rather enjoyed the service, but poor old Morris had a real beast of a cold. Our rector.
Here are your glasses, Grandmama.
Oh, thank you, darling. I don't really need them at the moment, just to have them by me. I believe that as one gets older, one should exercise one's eyes more. Otherwise, the muscles get lazy, you know.
I cannot imagine anyone less likely to indulge in any form of laziness than you, Dame Violet.
Ah, you are a wicked old flatterer.
Yes, he is. But I'm sure you're accustomed to it.
I hope that Dame Violet can distinguish between genuine admiration and empty flattery.
Well, I'll just pop through and see if Mrs. Gates needs a hand.
Well, talking of popping, I think I'll just pop up to my bedroom for a bit. Yes, I know. But I get pins and needles just sitting about. I have to be active. Come along, Laura, and you can ask that nice Mrs. Gates to assist me, and then somebody can call me when the wanderers return.
I'll help you with your hair.
Oh, no. Certainly not. You are here to enjoy yourself.
I think you'll find Mrs. Gates is busy in the kitchen. If we don't leave her alone, we shan't get any Christmas dinner.
Very well. Come along, then, my poor little Laura.
Yes, Grandmamma.
What an affectionate woman. How she adores that child. And what character she has.
Have you gone quite mad?
Hmm? Oh, yes, quite mad.
Charles, that woman is the most self-centred, vain old termagant I have ever met in all my life.
Old? How can you use the word old?
And she's old.
And termagant. Did I hear correctly? Termagant?
Your hearing, Charles, seems to be sharper than some of your other faculties.
I think I see what it is. Who's being put just a trifle in the shade? Whose nose is just a little out of joint?
Hers would be if I weren't a lady.
Now, I refuse to listen to any more remarks about a woman of such character and culture and achievement.
You are making a complete ass of yourself, Charles, isn't he, Peter?
Oh, I don't know, Lady Bourne. If you'll excuse me, I'll just...
There you are, you see. Now you've embarrassed that young man.
Well, I like that. Who's putting this whole house at 6s and 7s? You're blushing violet. Egotistical, conceited, ill-mannered old harridan.
My dear Alice, you're jealous. That's all it is, jealous, just because she's so well-preserved and amusing.
Oh, Charles, try and be your age, even if she can't.
You're green with envy.
You are behaving like a 20-year-old stage-door Johnny.
And you are losing your sense of humour.
A little lapdog. I'm surprised at you.
It's uncharitable and unchristian. I won't have you saying that.
I have said that.
Oh, now, what's this? Raised voices? Something the matter?
Well, you better ask Alice. I'm going to get some fresh air.
Oh, Grandpa, take your coat.
Well, never mind my coat. I'm not 90. Lapdog.
Well, Grandpa, we'll be having our presents soon.
Well, Mother, what was all that about?
Well, we had a little contretemps, that's all. About that Lumsden woman.
Oh, dear, did you?
Yes, we did. Charles appears to be impressed and amused by her. Or he's pretending to be just to annoy me. Lumsden. Arthur, dear, have you got a who's who in your study?
Well, yes, dear, yes, I think so. It's not a very modern one, 1931, I think. Why?
I just want to look up something.
Well, all right, Mother, I'll join you in a moment.
Grandpa is halfway to Holborn.
Now, Laura's granny seems to be causing a lot of friction in this house.
I don't see why we should all blame Dame Violet. Granny and Grandpa often have little tiffs.
Now, where is the woman, anyway?
Oh, up in her room, I expect, taking off her hat.
Oh, she's probably ringing for a maid to take it off for her.
Oh, Daddy, please. Laura couldn't help bringing her grandmother.
Darling, I am very pleased to see them both.
She does talk rather a lot.
We were warned, of course. Your Aunt Phyllis described her as something of a dragon. Not sure I wouldn't call her more of a vampire.
Oh, Daddy, it's rather rude about a guest.
Yes, it was. I'm so sorry.
Well, she has been through a lot.
In what way?
Well, the war.
Well, darling, lots of us were in the war.
Well, and then losing her daughter in that crash, Laura's mother.
Vicky, darling, I'm not going to argue with you today of all days. Honestly, I just hope that someone gets that damn woman out of this house before we all kill each other. You just tell me when the presents are ready, will you?
the matter? You look a bit...
No, not you, Laura. Nobody.
Ting-a-ling-a-ling! Present time, everybody.
Everybody.
Where are they all? It's like a morgue down here.
I don't know, Grandmama.
Well, perhaps they don't want any presents. Or could it be they don't want to see what I have brought them? Vicky, what do you think? Laura?
I'll go and tell them to come to the tree. Excuse me.
I don't believe your friends like me, Laura. Isn't that odd?
Oh, Nanny, are you coming down to the tree? I believe we're all wanted in the hall now.
I'm just coming down.
I came up to get a scarf. It's chilly down there.
Yes, it is.
You know, Nanny, memory's a very funny thing. I could have sworn that I'd met or seen Dame Violet before. Her face and the name Lumsden rang a bell. Well, I looked up Colonel Lumsden in the Who's Who downstairs and found that he'd been married to a woman called Violet Brand. And then, of course, the whole thing came back to me. It was quite a scandal at the time, and a picture of Paris with a young man who she'd nursed during the war. Of course, it didn't last. And when she came back here, all her friends cut her dead. She couldn't go out in society anymore. She never saw anyone. She just sat in her house in Connaught Square, bringing up her granddaughter.
Oh. And do you think that maybe this is the first time she's been away, staying in the country for all these years?
I do now, Nanny. Oh. I believe the poor woman has been trying to make up for lost time. So I suppose we must all make allowances for her.
Aye, I suppose we should.
Now then, since I am a stranger in your midst, I should like to claim the privilege of giving out my presents first. If you all agree, I shall begin. Laura, you know what to do.
Yes, right.
Rather exciting, isn't it? Like a school prize giving.
When am I supposed to give my presents?
When Dame Violet has finished giving hers.
All right.
Charles, one for you, with my very best wishes for a happy Christmas.
Oh, well, I'm overwhelmed.
Oh, but this is exquisite. Oh, but really, you shouldn't have. I mean, it must be very valuable.
It cost me nothing. That little box was a gift from our first counsellor in our embassy in Rome, Mr. Edwards. He was quite an admirer of mine. I have treasured it always. That book, Charles, is a Walpole first edition. It has sat on my bookshelves in Connaught Square for many a year, gathering dust. I do hope it may bring you great pleasure.
But, Dame Violet, it's wonderful. A Horace Walpole first edition. I just don't know what to say.
Vicky, one for you.
Thank you.
And one for your sister. Commander Bourne, one for you.
Thank you very much.
Peter, a little bauble for you.
Goodness, thank you very much.
Oh, yes, and Nanny, one for you.
Oh, thank you very much, Dame Violet.
Oh, but these are lovely. Dame Violet, you do spoil us. Oh, look, Nanny.
Oh.
Violet, you've given us your most treasured and valued possessions. We really can't take them.
I agree. We can't.
I mean, this flask, it's real English silver. An initial PGL.
Ah, yes. Philip George Lumsden. My husband. He would have liked it to go to a young man who'd look after it and appreciate it.
Thank you very much indeed.
We're very much touched, Dame Violet.
There's no need to be.
Dame Violet, I'm afraid all our presents to you are rather humdrum things. But these, I mean, they're your own personal property. Now, this watch, I I simply can't accept it. It's pure gold.
But I insist. That, too, belonged to my husband, and I want you to have it. You have all been very kind to me and my grandchild. You have given me the first real family Christmas I have enjoyed in over 30 years, in a lovely country house, surrounded by kind, gentle, understanding people. It's the least I can do to repay your hospitality. All I can do. Well, that's that, isn't it?
Now it's our turn. Laura, this is for you.
Thank you.
Dame Violet, for you. From Lady Vaughan.
Oh, thank you so much.
It's a cheap little bottle of eau de cologne from Boots.
I got her a woolen scarf, 5 and 6pence, from that draper's in Holbury.
Dame Violet, from Daddy.
Oh, thank you so much.
Oh, she's given us all these lovely treasures. We've been so beastly about her.
Oh, you have?
We all have.
Well, speak for yourself.
Granny, from me.
Oh,
Grandpa, from me. Only something small and horrible.
I bet it
Quite
isn't.
sure it isn't. Oh, Vicky, it's lovely, darling. Oh, it's really too pretty. Give me a kiss. Oh,
I
Vicky,
stitched it myself.
so much.
Took me ages.
Vicky, darling. Wisden's Almanac. Oh, and catch your father out.
Catch me out?
Wisden's. No more arguments about old cricket scores. Now I am the sole authority, thanks to my darling Vicky. Oh, what a corking present. Oh, I am enjoying my Christmas.
Oh, you're back, are you, Fred? Like a cup of tea, love?
Oh, thanks.
Train on time, was it?
Yeah, a minute early. Give me £1, Dame Violet did. Here, Argate, she said. That's for driving us safely to the station. Very good of her, I reckon.
And she left £1 on the dressing table. Most of them only leave 10 bob. Well, she's not mean, whatever else.
Rum creature, though. Bit weird, all high and mighty when she first come.
Yeah, well, I reckon she's been used to bigger houses than this. Still, it was nice to have Laura with us over Christmas, in spite of her granny.
I reckon Dame Violet's been used to a whole lot of servants. The way she had everybody running about. I've never seen anything like it, ordering everybody about.
Well, it livened things up a bit, didn't it? Oh, say, she had Lady Vaughan and Mr. Ashley at one another's throats like a couple of terriers, according to Nanny.
Don't tell me those two had words.
Ah, they did. But it's all right now, they're friends again.
Well, I'm glad to hear it.
I was not uncharitable to her, Charles. Well, I admit that she rubbed me up the wrong way at first. But don't forget, it was I who looked up her wretched husband.
Scandals, aren't you, Alice, dear?
Oh, what a thing to say. And who made up to the woman and carried on like a gigolo.
Yeah. Lapdog is what you said.
Exactly. Lapdog. Arming her into dinner and laughing at her jokes.
But I was only teasing. You really must try and develop a sense of humour, Alice.
How dare you say I haven't got a sense of humour?
Now, Alice, I'm getting cross. Now, deal the cards and be quiet.
I won't be quiet.
Very well. I shan't play.